Somebody will bring it up. It'll be a. I wouldn't have decided.
Oh, I see you. Mayor. 6:30.
Paperwork. All right. Go ahead. So, sister, go ahead.
We're recording.
Oh, we are recording. Okay.
Yeah, man, use your hand.
Good evening. Good evening. You can hear me very well. Well, great. Tonight's meeting is starting now. I'll call the meeting to order at 6:31. And everybody stand for the pledge of allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Chair.
Could you guys check to make sure that you're recording?
Yes.
It is recording. Good deal. All right, roll call. Let's start with Councilor Pointer,
Alan Boyer. Adam Hand.
Mark Crouch,
Tom Miller. James Carlisle.
okay, and Nikki Wood,
She's here. We're figuring out how to unmute her. She is here.
and Nikki Wood is on Zoom.
I'm here.
Okay, all present. Some interesting things happened this afternoon. It's about the election, and I'll kind of give a brief scenario so everybody understands what's going on. Originally, the list was put out. There was a question about that was whether it was correct or not. Krista talked with the attorney. One person's position was moved down to a two-year position based upon what the attorney had advised. Several days later, it's now something that is ambiguous as far as what our charter says. So we'll need to schedule a special meeting as soon as possible. So what I would like to do, and also, Councilor Hand, Councilor Wood, and Councilor Carlisle have requested a special meeting. And so I would like to schedule both of those meetings as agenda item. Let's call it agenda item number 1 or whatever at this point in time with the council's approval. Raise your hand if you're okay with scheduling these special meetings.
When are you proposing this special meeting?
That's what we're going to start. That's what we're going to do right now. So this agenda item has been, and we're doing it before citizens' comments, so we can get this out of the way and get on with the regular meeting. So let's first off start with scheduling of the special meeting for the election question. Did you want to add anything else to the election situation at this time, Krista? No, okay. So the advice of the attorney is to schedule this as quickly as possible. We obviously can't schedule it Friday because it won't be a 24-hour period. So I'm suggesting we schedule it Monday at say 6:30. Or we could do it at 6. 6 is fine.
Well, we have the agenda given to us.
Yeah, for 6 o'clock on Monday. What's it, 16th?
Oh, yeah, so we have the code enforcement meeting?
Yes.
Okay, so there's a code enforcement meeting at that point in time. No?
Oh, this is good. What is this?
Yeah, motion to approve the agenda as.
Oh, so you already printed
I
it out?
already printed it for your convenience.
Oh, okay. Well, is everybody okay with 6? Easy enough.
Monday at 6.
Monday at 6 it is. Everybody in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Okay,
Hi.
that was scheduled.
Um,
This is for the elections.
Right, this is for the elections question. Krista will, as a number one priority, put together the question that the attorney will pose to us. Right, Krista?
Sorry.
What I'd like to see for this meeting also is that the attorney pose the question to us.
He will provide you 2 to 3 options for you to discuss and pass.
Cool, so he'll do a staff report on it, essentially.
If you would like him present, I would ask him to be there to maybe give some explanation rather than a staff report.
Absolutely, yeah, so he'll be there and he will, yes, with the information we need so we can spend our weekend going over it.
I
32 specifically under vacancy.
3 to, just the whole, everybody should read the whole that, but if he could also tell us what we're,
Correct.
Yeah.
You want me to, I'm sorry.
send us all an email.
Okay.
In regards to, what question he's asking us.
Okay.
Yeah, not the resolutions or anything like that, just, so we know what we're, looking for and everything
Yes.
like that, so we can be well studied up on the
Yep.
issue.
Yeah, is it possible that we get that before the weekend, tomorrow afternoon?
From the attorney,
Something so we can study it over the weekend.
I will ask him.
That's all we can do.
Yeah,
Yeah.
priority one.
Yeah, it happened about 3 o'clock. That's how.
Right. Which I'm surprised I'm already sitting here with an agenda, but that's good. All right, good. So that one's taken care of. The second one, I'm gonna go ahead. I know a little bit about it, but then I'll let Adam Hand finish off the discussion about this second special meeting. Because, well, actually, go ahead and explain it.
Do we need to discuss it or just schedule the meeting?
We need to schedule a meeting, but one of the things, since you do want to go into executive session, is we need to understand what you are suggesting we go into executive session for.
Okay.
And if it involves an employee of the city, the employee of the city has the option to choose whether it's public or executive session.
I understand.
We have Counselor Wood with her hand up.
Yeah, I was just confused about the code enforcement meeting at the same time on Monday as the special meeting.
Counselor Wood,
Can you hear me?
she says she's muted, but I don't.
Can you hear me? Hello?
Other people can hear her. She says, what about the code enforcement meeting? It's at the same time.
Yeah, we have a code enforcement
Well,
meeting.
after the code enforcement meeting. It shouldn't take more than an hour, I would assume. Okay, Rob? The delay of the code enforcement meeting an hour? You're the chair.
Can't recall, I thought the code enforcement.
Could you speak up, please?
I thought the code enforcement meeting was on the 19th, is that right?
I believe I had it for this 16th. 16th.
Okay.
So we have that after the meeting.
Just over an hour. Okay, so that's what we'll do. Obviously, the election issues take precedent. All right, so You like the thinking?
Can you guys
Counselor,
hear me? Can you hear me?
it shows she's talking.
Can you guys hear me?
And other people are saying that they can hear her.
Yeah, mute right.
She's not muted.
Are you sure your speakers hooked up? Oh,
It-
there we
it's-
go. Maybe she can do it now.
Can you guys hear me now?
There we
Oh,
go.
there we
Yeah,
go.
we can barely.
Okay, can you hear me now?
Yes,
There
thank
we
you.
go.
Okay, thank you.
There we go.
I think we're good. My question was, my question was answered. I just wanted to know about the scheduling conflict there.
Oh, but, yeah, the enforcement, yeah. Okay, Adam, you're up.
Okay, as the mayor mentioned, myself, Council Wood and Councilor Carlisle have requested a special meeting. Part of that meeting would be a public meeting to discuss a topic, and then part of that meeting would be some things discussed in executive session. The part of the discussion to happen at the public meeting is about my concerns about the process we went through for hiring a city manager. It was my understanding that we were hiring an interim city manager. And the search for the permanent city manager would continue until a qualified permanent city manager was found. This council agreed to hire an interim. We created hiring standards for an interim. We advertised for an interim. When the actual contract was signed, it was not for an interim. I believe that we need to make some corrections there. Number one is we need to clarify that the current city manager is
Well, right now, we're just creating an agenda item.
You asked me to explain.
Yeah, just, so if I can paraphrase, there is a concern about the contract that was signed, and that will be in public meeting, so we're good on that. Is that enough for you to write an agenda item on?
What is the executive session that you're,
Now, he's got a second part, okay.
So the first part would be a public meeting with that part of the discussion. The executive session part of the meeting would be to discuss, I believe there have been some issues with a current staff member, and I believe that the full council should have the opportunity to discuss these issues and decide if they need more attention.
Okay, what is the staff member's name?
That would be Chris Miller.
You have the option of either having it as an executive session or public hearing.
you're to give me notice by writing and usually 30 days notice.
Okay, we'll give you a 30 days notice, so it won't be scheduled out for quite a bit. And we will provide that in writing to you. So maybe we can work on getting a clarification, but I think that's good enough to write a notice. And Krista, this notice that I write, let me know if I didn't do it correctly. We'll do it properly.
Usually the attorney, it would come from him.
Okay, so we'll come from the attorney. And at this point, you're not saying anything, right? Yeah, until you get your notice and then you can respond to it. Good, okay, so it's 30 days out. I don't think we particularly want to schedule it at this point because we have to wait for the attorney to do the notice and everything like that, but are you okay with waiting a few days? We'll make it quick as possible after we get responses back. But you now know the timeframes.
Yeah.
You know, as soon as the lawyer provides me. One of the things I did discuss with the lawyer is he wanted clarity for the executive session. I myself personally do not like executive sessions, period, there to protect somebody or to keep it so we have a negotiating value. So that's my personal opinion, of course.
And I believe that's the case here. We want to do an executive session to protect everyone's privacy.
But it's the person.
The personnel issue.
Yeah, the person would decide that. Okay, good. So, is everybody okay with scheduling this out? Fine with it?
Yeah.
And what we'll have is the attorney will let you send an email to the attorney as to what you want to
Thank you.
send. Okay, good. All right, so now we're done with all the unproductive stuff. I would like to move on to the meeting and let's see if we can find some solutions to the citizens of Lakeside. We're going to go back to citizens' comments, would be the next part in the section. I want to make it really clear about the citizens' comments. Last meeting we had, which was a special meeting, the citizens didn't do too well. And when I say that general comments, and I'm explaining it right now, general comments are at the beginning of the meeting. That's when they're at. If somebody's up at the mic speaking, it's very rude to interrupt them while they're speaking. And that's why we do general comments at the beginning, and I opened it up later on for general comments. Councilor Martin?
I think we missed the.
Consent agenda.
Okay, we'll go back to the consent agenda before we did that. But those are my comments about, it will be 3 minutes and we will go ahead and I'll have to toe the line tonight. Consent agenda. We have August minutes, August 8th minutes, August 20th minutes, and staff reports on the consent agenda. Does anybody want to pull any of those items off the consent agenda at this time?
I would like to move to pull staff reports off the consent agenda for further discussion.
All right. Staff reports is off the consent agenda, and I will make that item 6C. So right after we finish with the consent agenda, we will move without the staff reports. 6C, and we will discuss staff reports. Okay. So on the 2 minutes.
It's move that we accept the consent agenda, which includes the August 8th meeting minutes and then the August 20th.
Second that. All in favor, say your name and just raise your hand and say aye.
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 Who was second?
It was a tie.
Adam, we're
I'll take it. So, all against the approval of the consent agenda, raise your hand and say no. Okay, motion passes. Now we've moved staff reports to 6C. Would somebody like to make a motion and then we can discuss it?
Well, I move we accept the staff report.
Okay. I second it. Now, would any counselor like to speak about the staff report at this time?
I would. I just haven't seen staff reports on the consent agenda before and would just like a little bit more background from staff about those reports.
So are you saying you want them included, not included? If they're included, more detail?
Well, usually with consent agenda, we don't really discuss anything, and with staff reports, there's usually discussion by staff members or council, so I was hoping to maybe have a discussion on I think the LOC page and the election candidates, is that's what's considered the staff report? And Oregon Occupational Safety and Health Division. Is that what's the staff report?
No, that's not the staff report. We also have maintenance and wastewater. It's a little bit new putting in staff reports, and I feel that the council needs to be informed of what's going on outside of administrative issues. So also communications that are directed to the council will go in the packet so that you can be informed of mail that is coming to you and other items such as the OSHA report.
Okay,
So if
Yeah, I
you'd like
just-
me to do that somewhere else, I'm happy to do that.
that's fine. I
Mhm.
didn't know if that was just purely informational or if there was gonna be any background on it, so.
I can speak to the OSHA report. It is pretty cut and dry, and some of those things that we were doing and some of them we were not, and we are rectifying the ones that we were not. If you're interested in the LOC portion, that's just merely for your information. Sometimes I will put in information for you. If you don't want it, then we can ignore it, or
No, that's fine. I'm fine with information.
Okay.
Thank you.
The motion on the table is to approve the staff report at this time. Discussion's ended. We're all good there? All
Yep.
right. Oh, everybody, discussion hasn't ended, okay, Mr. Rand?
Is that report something we typically need to approve? Generally, it's just at the end of the meeting and we discuss it if we feel like discussing it. I don't understand how we need to approve the staff report.
you can tell me how it has been done. I don't know where staff reports for things like I was saying, maintenance and streets and wastewater go. Usually staff reports are, you read them. If you want to pull them out and have a particular item that you want to discuss out of the report, then we can do that. Otherwise, it's an acknowledgement that you understand that they're there.
Okay. I understand your point of view. Like I said, it's very different. I think for us, typically it has been at the staff report has been
At the end of
discussed
the
at the
meeting?
end of the meeting.
Okay, I'm happy to put them back there.
Well, we're right now on a motion to approve the staff reports at this point. That's the discussion we're having at this point. Any additional discussion on that? All
No.
right, all say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, say no. Okay. Okay. Now we're to citizens' comments. Did we have any citizens that would like to comment tonight? Did you have any?
We do. We had one by email, but he is here tonight, so I don't know if he would like to speak publicly or have his comment read. So I will just read the comment. This is by Mike Armstrong about the elections. Review of city charter on elections. Lakeside City Charter was adopted May 5th, 1976. Our city charter, chapter 3, section 8, councilmen. After adoption at first general election, 3 councilors whose term will first expire shall stand election for a term of 4 years. At such election, a 4th councilor will be elected for a term of 2 years. The 3 highest vote getters of all candidates shall be elected to 4-year terms. As in TO, not TWO. The candidate receiving the 4th highest votes shall be elected to a 2-year term. At the second general election after adoption, the remaining 2 councilmen and the councilman elected to the 2-year term shall stand election for a term of office of 4 years each. At each subsequent general election, those councilmen whose term will expire in the ensuing year shall each stand for election for a 4-year term of office. At such subsequent general elections, the candidates receiving the highest number of votes, each among all other candidates, shall be elected. This is our system. All counselors are four-year terms. Section 8 was written to guide existing elected counselors as their term expired. Our city charter mirrors ORS 221.090, which details election process as follows. 2 members with the highest vote tally shall hold office until the first Monday in January, following the second general election held after incorporation of the city. 3 members receiving next highest number of votes shall hold office until the first Monday in January, following the first general election held after incorporation. Note, no term length is specified. This law separates terms of council, so all don't expire at the same date. Conclusion, all Lakeside City Councilor terms are for 4 years. Staggered, 3 councilors, 1 general election, and 3 councilors the next general election. That is all.
Okay, can you email that to all the counselors so we can study it? You know, for the Monday meeting? All right, any further comments tonight? I know maybe
Yes.
people don't, okay.
We have Linda I'm sorry, I don't know her now. Sherrick, on speeders.
Not a few guys.
I'm here just to let you know that the speeders are coming. So they will be coming through here October 4th. I'm gonna run to Coos Bay and then going back to Bonita on the 6th. So, but this is their annual toy drive. And so they are going to be stopping on 13th Street to collect toys. Now, they've been doing this now probably for about 5 years, and I think this is their 4th or 5th year. And I've included in your packets some information that I got from Nancy Andrews, who she and her husband Bill are the ones that kind of organized this. This one is probably going to be one of their biggest runs that they've had. They did not have any runs in June or August because the railroad lines were being worked on. So this one at this point has 43 cars signed up where they normally only have 30. They are going to have 2 cars that are going to be pulling little toy chests. The idea is when they stop here, people who want to donate toys can actually see them, you know, talk with them. Mr. and Mrs. Clark are coming with a bunch of their elves. And according to Nancy, the Oregon Public Broadcasting is riding along with them and will be stopping and interviewing people as they come around. So it's a really big deal. And again, the 43 cars may be, again, this was August 30th. So there may be more people that are, she said there was more people who are still interested, so it may be much larger. They will be over visiting the Railroad Museum on Saturday. And if you want to come, and if you've never been to the Railroad Museum, please do. It's just a fun place to go. And if you want, you'll put cookies. I'm making cookies for it. So, but at 2 p.m. At the Coos Bay Boardwalk, they'll be donating the toys to the Rotary Club. So I'm here to let you know that they are coming. And again, at 13th Street, the little thing says 3:30, but that's railroad time. And you know what railroad time is, anywhere between 3 and 5. So last year they were right on time, 3:30. So this is just, you know, a great thing to do. They're really nice people and they come from all over the country. So if you have any, you know, want to come meet them, you'll bring a toy, throw it into the toy tin. If you missed it, you can kind of get them over at the Railroad Museum, probably around noon. So if I get more information in regards to time, I will be posting it on the Facebook along with this again. So thank you.
Great.
Thank you.
Alan, is there something you can put on the website?
do something.
Okay. Then, can you give Alan something to put on the website? Yeah, maybe just scan that, and put it up.
Right
Yeah.
here.
Great, very good, thank you.
Now we have Bill with 800 Railroad.
Can barely hear you, but I'm deaf in one ear, you know, I can't hear on the other one. 800 Railroad, we're back. And they've got a 3-minute script, I'm just gonna read it out. About a week after I leased the property, I came down here and spoke to Rick Holmbaum. Did you raise the mic up, Dad? I can't hear you. Thank you. Too tall for it. About a week after I leased the property, I came down here and spoke with Rick Holmbaum, the city manager at the time. He did a cursory search and told me that the lot zoning was general commercial, that I could do everything I wanted in regards to creating a storage facility. He then told me I needed to purchase a cup. The cost was $750. I asked him straight out, if it was already zoned for the use, why would I need a conditional use permit? He told me that he needed to pay to send notifications out to the public for public comment. He then told me that it didn't matter what happened at that public comment, as I would still be able to create and use my storage yard. I then asked if the public comment had no bearing on me, on using the yard, why did we even need to hold public comment? The response I got back to that question for the most part was unintelligible and made no sense. I've been in this industry for more than 40 years, and this isn't my first zoning rodeo concerning storage facilities. I'm very confident in the fact that you can't force me to buy this permit if I'm not trying to do something that is not included in the definition of general commercial. Lakeside does not properly publish its zoning regulations or guidelines for the public's use. None of the information I need to make a confident decision is available to me as John Q. Public. I can't make a qualitative decision about which way to go with all this. This is a violation of law. I've seen other municipalities do this, and it allows them to sort of make the rules up as they go along. By not making this information easily obtainable, there's a risk of it being interpreted differently for each person. This wholly and completely violates everybody's rights in regards to the uses of their own property. I want to see the written definitions of all of these rules in an understandable and common law language. I still have not been able to find the definition for the city of Lakeside for a conditional use permit or what is considered junk. Now, there were 4 violations listed in a complaint nailed to a board in front of my lot. None of them apply to my use. Required cut for a storage facility in a GC zone lot. That is incorrect. There is no cut required to store vehicles in a GC zone property. This is included outright in the zoning. No more than 1 RV allowed in the lot that is not zoned as an RV park. No one lives in the RVs. They are dry stored only, like any other vehicle, and no time will we be creating a functioning RV park. So that one didn't apply. No business license. We took care of that last time. I was going to show you we got the business license. And then number 4, again, we're back to the improper storage of junk. There is no definition for this violation. LNC 93.05B, and nothing in my yard is junk. It was all part of my business, and then it eventually gets processed and paid for either by being salvaged, taken to the dump, or auctioned off at a different location. We sell storage space, period. The letters you sent to the owner of the property scared her, and it had an effect on the relationship with her. If you send letters like that, I would recommend you make sure they are viable and not made up nonsense that's designed to frighten everyone into compliance. Really do work for the people, not the city, okay? Finally, I'm officially requesting to be put on the agenda for the Commissioner City Council meeting in October, where we can fully and completely discuss this permit and finally put all of this to rest.
Thank you.
Reagan Coates, neighbor.
I don't know the property exactly, but it's the white house with the windows all boarded up. I think his name is Kelly. I've had numerous times where he's came onto my property and just let himself come up to my windows while they're open. They also just banging on my door, demanding to come inside as my sister cut herself it was a backstory. It was 11 o'clock at night and I just freshly moved into a property on 6th Street, or 7th Street by myself. And my sister cut herself, and within a minute of my sister crying, he was on my front doorstep, pounding on my door, demanding to come inside. And when I asked him to leave and shut the door on his face, he just stood there. He also came back this morning at 6 a.m., throwing glass at my fence, shaking my fence and trying to come inside my fence at 6 a.m., by the way. And then when we asked him to leave, he said we were attacking him. And basically, he's done this for numerous times. And even when I worked at the ice cream shop that used to be here, 10 Mile of Sweet Treats, he used to harass me there and ask me to like go home with him and go on dates. Mind you, I was 16 at the time and now I'm 18. So it's just been a numerous problem, and I think he's done it to numerous other people as well, came onto their properties and bugged them. But I just wanted to bring that up because it is a numerous thing. That was it.
Tammy Crockett?
That I can be heard from here. That, and like the young lady was saying, that's why I'm here. That, that my son's got a mental problem. That I've been packing all his bills for 4 years. That, the house is livable, it's safe, it's insured. That, I don't know if the council has any power over this kind of topic other than handing it over to the sheriff's department. But we do have a problem in this town. If it isn't drugs, it's mental illness. That I've been living with that for 35 years. And I know what she's talking about. He does that to my house. That he has kids, he hears a kid cry, he comes running. Most parents do. That doesn't make it right, but he doesn't, he's not a threat. He's just over concerned. But again, the same thing arises, because I don't think that the council has any power at all in it. That if you have any power at all, it's getting police presence or contacting the sheriff department, if you have that much. You know, that's what she should be doing. But again, that I never got to be this old by being blind. And that the older I get, the more I find out that there's a lot of hurt out there. And you can't just deal with it with some guy who's overprotective about a child crying, overprotective about they seen somebody in the house. You know, so when I first read the agenda, it wasn't on. And I'm glad I'm here for this. That my advice is county sheriff. I really don't, unless you can disagree with that, the council has no movement. That's me.
All right.
Shalane Higgins, TLA dinner?
Yes.
Well, I'm Charlene Higgins, and I am a resident of Lakeside. Everybody needs to- I wanted to talk tonight about the TLA dinner that is tomorrow night at Lakeshore Lodge. And for anybody that doesn't know, this is a fundraiser, an annual event. It's the annual history dinner. And great food, and they'll have a guest speaker, Brett Brownscombe, is speaking about the Elliott State Forest. Anyway, they still have 10 tickets left to sell. And I just wanted to let you know, so if anybody wants to attend the meeting or attend the dinner, it's definitely gonna be worth it. Doors open at 4:30. The dinner sort of choices of prime rib, parmesan crusted halibut, and custom chicken breast. That makes anybody hungry, makes me hungry to think about it. And they have a silent auction. Anyway, if you want to give Alan Whitney a call, 541-297-1663. Call tonight or first thing tomorrow morning. He's got to get the information. Anyway, so hope to see anybody there tomorrow night. $50 a piece. Did I miss anything else? All right, that's all.
Thank you very much.
That's all.
That's it. Okay. Thank everybody for all your comments tonight. I always appreciate a lot of the comments. Sometimes, you know, we don't hear enough. And I'm glad everybody's participating in that. All right, so old business. This is the Rainbow Property Approval Agreement. We had talked about this a couple weeks ago in a special meeting, and we had come up with the decision, well, we had come up with tasking Krista to write a memorandum of understanding. And she's completed that. So, Krista, would you like to say anything about it?
Actually, the attorney wrote it,
For the attorney, yeah.
an agreement. This was already in the works from 2 city managers ago. So we adjusted it based off of the lien issue that we can't go through title without removing the lien. So this is what your attorney is presenting you. The proposed amount is $5,000 for the city to retain. And Amanda, she is on here tonight, is agreed to that amount.
Has all the counselors had an opportunity to read through this agreement?
Yeah,
Okay, would somebody like to make a motion?
I make a motion to accept the agreement to discharge the 2 liens on the 245 Rainbow Lane.
I second that. It's now open for discussion. Councilor Ward?
I have a clarification question. I understood earlier that the problem with buying the property for Ms. Fleming was that she couldn't buy it with the liens on it. And so if I'm understanding the language of the contract correctly, she's going to abate the nuisances before she purchases.
No, she has 90 days to abate the nuisances or the liens are put back on.
So then this contract is a proposal to remove the liens prior to the sale of the property.
On advice of your attorney.
And so what safeguard does the city have that the current property owner isn't going to then turn around and sell it to someone else for a higher price as soon as the liens are removed?
I can't tell you that. But also I will mention that the motion was to accept it as is, where the suggestion was to add $5,000 pertaining to.
Right, and we didn't want the lien removed. Councilor Ann?
Section 3 of this agreement reads that after the nuisance conditions at this location have been abated to the city's satisfaction, then the city shall discharge.
Right.
It does not say that we will wait for any report.
What section, sorry?
Section 3 about the second or third sentence reads, after the nuisance condition at the location have been abated to the satisfaction of the city shall discharge the few city liens.
Not before.
And I'm not clear that the transaction can't go through with liens on it. It's just that she gets it transferred with the lien. So we need to, could you clarify that with Karen?
I did, and I was under the impression it could go through with us keeping the liens on, and then the attorney is saying, no, it cannot. And so he changed the agreement.
The agreement in front of us clearly says that we will not remove the liens until the notice is completed.
So maybe we should get clarification from Gary on that.
Well, that is what we want though, right?
This is what we want, yeah, because we're not removing the liens until it's been abated. I mean, the agreement is what we want,
Right.
but, yeah, I mean.
I wanted the clarification because I don't want one of the parties to then come back to us and say, hey, you agreed to remove these liens. Why are they still there?
So in this agreement, there is nothing about removing the liens until the property is abated. So,
There is question whether it can go through title, because can we hear from Amanda?
sure,
during-
absolutely. Yeah, to clear up this, I can make an exception.
Where? Yeah, Amanda. Oh, there we go. Are you there, Amanda? Let's see. Let's see.
Hello?
Hey, you can hear?
Hello? Hi.
Can you hear us?
I can hear you, yes.
No?
You can't hear us.
I can hear her.
Yeah, we can hear her, she can't hear us. Raise your hand.
I can hear you.
Okay.
Oh, okay.
Could you were out of the room, sorry. So what you were saying is that the lien cannot go through title.
The lien cannot, they can't the purpose of title is to clear the title before purchase. The lien cannot go from Dave to me through title. The options that the title company told me that would have to happen is that the liens would have to be dropped, and if the city of Lakeside needed to, they could reapply the lien to me as soon as I take title for the 90 days until it's cleaned up, or I could sign a legal document through the attorney stating that within 90 days, if the property isn't cleaned, that you guys could go ahead and reapply that lien. If you want to add verbiage in there that I cannot sell the lot until it's cleaned, I'm cool with that, because that is not my intent. That is not how I make money, and that's not how the situation's going to work for me. My intent is to get in there in the next 2 weeks. I want to close on this as soon as possible and get the lot clean. Hopefully starting with the Lakeside cleanup next week on the 21st. I'm willing to do just about anything city council wants. I just need to move forward and get this closed. I'll sign anything. I'll sign a lawyer's document, whatever. But the only way for me to close on this property is for those liens to go away.
So this contract in front of us is not gonna work.
But she's willing to clean the property before she closes.
I
Amanda?
can't clean the property before I close. It's not my property. I can't go dump a bunch of money into a property I don't own and then I don't know that's going to be clean, that I'm not going to get a clear title on, that I can sell. It's just, it's at the point where if I can't do it, I have to walk, because I have to have clean title too for my own assurance. I mean, that's why I'm going through title, and that's why I've gone through the city of Lakeside now through 3 city managers, trying to get these liens dropped so we can get the property cleaned and move forward. And that, I mean, I really want you guys to understand that's what I'm there to do. And I have a history in Lakeside. I cleaned up another house. We purchased it in September. It was cleaned by October, within 6 weeks. Other properties that we purchased are the same. We don't really mess around with these things. It's how we make our money, and messing around costs us money. Time costs us money. So, I mean, there's just, if you guys hold the liens or make them stay, it can't work. there's no title. I can't have a title that's clean. I mean, I would rather have a clean title and have you guys reapply a lien. Then, I mean, and really that's the only way we can do it. And title company was willing to contact the attorney and Krista and talk to her about what I'm telling you.
So
How easy it is to apply a new lien against it if we did something like this?
That sounds like a can of worms.
Have to go through the whole process.
I didn't see what our attorney said.
I mean, and I'm willing to pay another $5,000 on top of everything else just to get you guys to do it.
So Gary's showing up Monday. We can talk to him on Monday about that.
Okay, we can table this till the next meeting. Monday,
Do you think you would talk about it on Monday for the special meeting?
if that's what you're asking me to do. I think.
What do you guys think?
well,
Just-
I think we need this one by our attorney. And you can't pass this because it says what it says.
You can pass it and make a correction to it if you're wanting.
Or do we want to wait and talk to the attorney before we make any changes to this?
I would like to do.
I think that might save us another go around if we just talk to the.
And Amanda, it's not gonna be a long period. We're talking to the attorney on Monday anyways. So we can get a resolution very quickly for you.
Okay, it's just the property's up for foreclosure and we're trying to close as soon as possible. That way the county can get out of the situation too. And
Yeah, I understand. And Monday is only, what, 3 days away?
yeah,
It says. We
This
just need to be clear, and say.
this document that was drafted up by the attorney, Amanda, were you in contact with him about your needs or?
no, I had relayed them through Krista. And then I did go ahead and start title with the title company, and the title reached out to the city of Lakeside also. And that way the city of Lakeside would know the only way to move forward in title is to clear. I mean, that's what title is, to clear the title. So yeah, no, I did. I hope I understand. I'm sorry. I'm very frustrated right now.
And we just need to be cautious. It's a lot of money.
I completely understand, but I mean, I'm gonna clean the lot and I mean, it's my whole intent or I wouldn't be going through all this, I guess, you know.
I think,
You know, there's no doubt, well, there is a lot of caution on the city due to other characters that we've come across. And
I understand that, but I feel a little bit like I'm being punished for Dave. I'm a completely different person. And I understand he jerked you guys around for a long time, but that's not my intent. I'm here to fix it, you know.
Yeah, we're asking for 2 days. 2
Okay.
business days. So the motion on the table is to accept this agreement.
No. We're gonna table it.
No.
We're gonna table it.
The motion on, we can table it, so we need to make a motion.
No, you were correct. You have a motion on the table.
We have a motion on the table at this point in time to accept this agreement. I don't have my Robert's rules with me. How do we now move it to tabling it?
You have a vote, so take your vote and then a new motion to bring it to the next meeting.
Okay.
Do we even have a second on the motion?
Yes, we
Yeah, okay.
So all in favor of accepting the agreement at this point in time? Raise your hand and say aye. All in favor of not accepting the agreement at this time, raise your hand and say no.
no,
Now, let's immediately move to the motion to table this item until the special meeting that we're having on Monday. I make that motion.
Second.
All in favor, raise your hand and say aye.
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 All all against, raise your hand and say no. Okay, the motion is passed to table this item until Monday's meeting. Apologize, Amanda. I thought we were there, but we're getting close.
Okay, thank you. we're getting really close to a timeline where, you know, with the foreclosure that, I mean, we're within like weeks away, so it's just starting to get very stressful.
I understand. All right. So now we're on to new business. Agenda item number 8, volunteer emergency management plan action item. Krista, can you enlighten us?
So this is Mr. Scott Borgioli.
Hi, yes. Hi.
Would you like to come up to the podium? He contacted me asking if we would be interested in updating our emergency management plans and educating the community on FEMA and emergency management. He has a history in Cottage Grove. He sent me over his resume and we have done a background check and we have had a couple of meetings now and conversations on the telephone, and I have checked references, and so I will let him tell you about himself.
All right, Scott.
My full-time paid job is, I'm a meteorologist. And my wife and I moved here we moved to North Bend a year ago. And I am a volunteer at the Charleston Fire Department. I'm a firefighter recruit. And volunteer with them. When I applied for the position, I stressed that I have a lot of emergency management background and training, and that's where my heart and experience lies. And the thinking at the time was that there could be stuff done within the department for the community. However, they're more gearing towards the firefighter, and I want to go in the emergency management direction. So I looked around the area, did some research. Lakeside is a 12 to 15 minute drive from my house. And I reached out, did some research, reached out to City Manager Miller and had a discussion with her in person for approximately 2 hours and felt that this would be a good opportunity for me to volunteer and help out in emergency management with the City of Lakeside. I work 7 days a week, mid-November through mid-March. The rest of the year, I work approximately 10 to 12 hours per week. So I have a lot of time on my hands during that 8 months of the year. So I think that this is an opportunity to apply my skills and training and work on bringing the community together and putting in place a disaster and emergency plan for the city and getting people trained, having some training meetings with the citizens, having some input with the citizens, getting the emergency plan up to date so that grants and special funding can be applied for. I highly doubt that the emergency plan is up to date based upon my research on the city having a massive amount of, and I'm not saying this in a negative way, but having a massive amount of emergency or city managers over the years. So I think that this is an opportunity. And when I reached out to City Manager Miller, she has significant enthusiasm for the city, and she really wants to see the city succeed. And that kind of gave me some energy, if you will, to continue in requesting to volunteer for the city in emergency management. I am highly, highly, highly trained and qualified. I brought my certificates with me today. City Manager Miller has seen my certificates. I have my red binder here. If we're all good with this, she'll make photocopies of that, and I don't know how she can get it distributed to you, but somehow that can be done. But I am trained in all aspects of emergency. I have also state Office of Emergency Services certification as well. So that's what I'm here before you. Everything because I own my own business as a meteorologist, I do weather forecasting for all of the citrus in California, and I do it from my home office. So everything I do at the forefront of my mind stands liability and professionalism. And that's how I operate, and never act in an unprofessional manner. I stay out of politics, keep politics to myself. And I believe in bringing people together and bringing the community together and working together as a team. And I think that that's something that could be helpful here to the city of Riverside and the citizens, bringing people together for a common cause. Because let's just face it, if a disaster were to happen right now, one of the bigger disasters that is possible is the Cascadia earthquake. And if that happens right now, we're going to be isolated, and the coast is going to be isolated. I attended state training on that. The coast is going to be isolated. We are not going to get resources here at the coast for possibly a week to 10 days. That's how bad of a situation, in worst case, things could be, because the bridges along the roadways are going to be knocked down. So we're going to be stuck here together. And I think I can facilitate that. And I think that I can implement mechanics into the emergency management plan and update the emergency management plan. And I think that we could put together a good citizens team and a good community response team for disasters, and also bring city services together as well to get the fire department and other city departments talking more closely together when it comes to emergency management, disaster operations.
Well, very awesome. You're willing to do this for free?
I am willing to do this for free.
Wow.
I have my own company, and I have 8 months out of the year where I have a lot of time on my hands. So and I'm married, and I think I could best apply my skills towards this rather than sitting in a casino on my free time and playing Keno, because I'm a numbers guy.
Yeah, you might end up negative, right?
Yeah, right. So I think that I think it's an opportunity for all.
Do any of the counselors have questions for Scott?
I got a question. Do you plan on setting up meetings for the local residents to actually talk to you one-on-one?
I don't think one-on-one is a good idea.
I'm sorry, not one-on-one. I'm talking about as a meeting group. I'm sorry.
Oh, okay, yes, that would be important. I think before touching any updates with the emergency plan, it's important to get input from the community and read over the emergency plan and kind of see where the shortfalls all are, and then get some input from the community and go from there. It's important. You have to involve the community.
Yes.
Again, like I just said, if we had a major emergency right now, we're stuck here together, and we have to pull through whether we like it or not. So we have to break that ice so that we can work together. And I think if we could talk weather, I can do weather presentations as well, talk about what we can expect with La Nina upcoming this winter. And we can, talk together, work together, and get the ice broken and move along with emergency preparedness and disaster training.
Well, excellent. Yeah, especially with the Cascadia fault, both of our roadways out are gone, so.
Yes.
So, very good. Well, I, for one, am very excited. I don't know, do we need to take it to a vote or anything, or do we need to make a motion?
But at least a consensus, if
Yeah,
you're all on
consensus.
board
Yes.
or a motion.
So
to
what does
discuss
everybody
it.
think about it?
I think I remember from some previous conversations under the last city manager and explaining to us that we were quite behind on our emergency planning. I know that it's one of the roles and responsibilities of the mayor and council to keep that up. And we do have a copy of a lot of your paperwork, and I looked over it real briefly at the beginning of the meeting. I feel like you're probably more qualified than anybody else. So, I feel like that's something you should be appreciative of and accept.
I've been involved in emergency management for 35 years. My first big involvement was in California. I was a police cadet, and the 1989 7.1 magnitude Loma Prieta earthquake hit. And I was on my way to the police department to a meeting, and I was 7 miles away from the epicenter. So that's how close I was. So my role changed, and that was my first big taste of emergency management, and I liked it. And ever since then, I've been involved heavily with large firestorms, major floods, you name it. I have that experience. I certainly have the experience, and I have the training, and I can do it.
Right. Well, how would it start, and what would be the first steps you want?
I would work under the direction of City Manager Miller, volunteer underneath the direction of City Manager Miller, and I would look at the emergency plan, look for the shortfalls, identify areas that are outdated with FEMA guidelines for requesting federal funding and grants, and see where we can discuss with Ms. Miller how we can bring that up to current standards. Have several meetings with the community to integrate disaster and emergency response efforts within the community, because the private sector has to get involved as well. They're a stakeholder. So that's where I would start with it. And then from there, I would work with City Manager Miller and make suggestions and get a thumbs up or thumbs down on taking it any further. Cost wise to the city, zero. I'm volunteering my time. We can have meetings in the senior center. We can schedule that. I'm sure there's maybe the lodge over here would be willing to, donate a portion of.
Yeah, we can figure it out.
Yeah, we could find things. So I'm not asking for anything, funding or anything along those lines. I don't think that's going to at all.
Sounds pretty good.
I have one more question.
We have a question.
Well, remember how I said no public comments after the first public comment, so we'll hold on. It's just a question. Even questions, we had a real problem with it last time. We start going down that slope again, it just gets out of hand. Okay, Councilor Miller. I'm sorry.
It just occurred to me that we do have some folks, I believe, Hauser Search, that have, over the years tried to keep us educated and keep us, but is that something you're willing to maybe work with them and keep them involved so that they don't feel like they got pushed out of the system?
Absolutely. We can't push anybody out. But you need a representative from the city and who has their teeth in it from the city's aspect of it, and not from a private organization, or a public organization. So and that's why I was saying earlier, everything needs to get integrated together. And I think we can do that. And I think it's necessary if you want a lakeside strong type of community in terms of disaster and emergency preparedness. Thank you.
Great. I'm excited myself, so I don't know how everybody else feels. Are we all good with it? Everybody raise their hand and say aye. Mickey?
Aye.
Obviously. Well, thank you very much, and look forward to working with you. If you're willing to answer Mr. Armstrong's question, so you can have it answered.
Sure.
Not right now, not in the meeting, but,
Okay. Absolutely.
just so it can get answered. Like I said, I don't want to go down the slope we went down the other night.
After the council, I'll stick around. All right. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. Well, that's exciting, guys. That's definitely moving forward, right? So now we're up to agenda item number 9. This is the approval of the hearings officer contract for code enforcement. This arises from the changes we've done to our code enforcement law. Gary Nolan has been a municipal judge in Lakeside, and we're proposing to change him from the municipal judge to a hearings officer for appeals. And Krista has provided us with the contract for that. All right, would somebody like to make a motion, then we can discuss that?
Well, I move that we approve the hearings officer contract for code enforcement for Gary Nolan.
I'll second it.
Okay.
Would any of the councilors like to make any comments?
I'm assuming we're talking Gary Nolan.
Yeah.
I have a question.
Go ahead, Nick.
I was just wondering, under compensation, it was blank, so I didn't know what the agreement was for that.
It's $300 a day.
Okay,
So we would put as many on the schedule as he could fit in a day. So I don't know if that means every other month. I think we would have to, but I wouldn't put a couple in there that
Right.
is for $300.
The more we have in one day, the better.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Councilor Ward?
So compensation, the wording, of the contract, that's, I think, is their agreement, section 3, it's got a blank dollar amount per hour.
Correct.
Yeah.
And it's $300 and
Per day.
per day.
Per session.
Per session.
Yeah.
Councilor, Ham?
In looking this over, I had a couple of questions, but before I get to them, I would like to say how important I think it is to get this contract sorted out and get that process going. And I think the whole community wants to see code enforcement going forward. Couple of things I thought were at least worth discussion, and maybe I'm just naive to how some of these contracts are written, but this is questions I had. Section 1 of the agreement talks about how the contract shall be automatically renewed. And the question I had is, why wouldn't we at least look at that once a year, just to make sure our needs are being met before we just assume and keep it going forward? The other question I had was the blank, which we've already discussed. My next question was in section 8 about indemnification, and I did my best to read up and whatever, on as much of this as possible, but I see words in here that make it seem as if under this contract, that person would be completely clear of any responsibility for, quote, any error, omission, or act of negligence. And I have a hard time understanding why we would hire a professional to do something because they're, they have these skills, and then say, go ahead and screw up all you want and we'll take responsibility for it. We could end up in a place where a mistake is made and now we're forced to pay for that mistake, be it a bunch of legal fees or some sort of judgment or, I wonder why that would be the case. And then the last part is section 11. At the very end of section 11, it says section 32.02 G1 of the Lake City Municipal Code. And then when I look at that, I'm sorry, when I look at that section, it talks about in 32.02 G2, that same section, it talks about how there should be waivers included, and those are not, I don't see those included in this contract either.
What do you mean about waivers?
I wish I had it right in front of me, but 3202 G2 says something to the effect that contracts with contractors shall include a couple waivers. And I don't see that in here.
Like the identification.
I'm sorry.
Well, I can answer the identification is a typical phrase that you'll find in every ordinance contract. That's nothing unusual. What's the first one?
The first one was on section 1 about why we wouldn't just take the time to relook at the contract.
Well, that's simply if we don't forget about it or something like that, it just continues and we don't have to worry about it. But, you know, I mean, that's something that people need to decide on whether they want to do that. Yeah, and
I just feel like it would take us very little time as a council to relook at the contract in a year.
right, so you can relook at it before we decide to continue or not. Kristen?
So we don't currently have a ticker file that would pull up some of these things. We don't have software that does that. So when some of these agreements come around, they may expire and you may then find yourself in a situation not knowingly how, and this is one of those that you may not want to let go, especially when you're talking about code enforcement where people may bring their own counsel and things, because that would be something easy to ding you on. If we had a ticker file that would bring up, hey, this is going to renew. I mean, we can start that. We can put them on calendars and things, but as it sits, we don't have a ticker file.
I understand where you're coming from.
Councilor Ward?
I'd also like to observe that section 1 of the agreement is modified by section 4. So even though the contract renews annually, we could decide to terminate it at any time.
Okay.
Correct.
So any evaluation schedule is fine.
No, I appreciate it, but I didn't quite understand and I wanted us to have that conversation. Yeah, it makes sense.
Great. I'm glad to bring that up. Any further discussion?
Can we at least have someone look at number 11? And reach that point before we go forward, or?
Yeah, I think it's worth looking and making sure that we're not missing a piece. There needs to be any sort of waivers before it's signed.
It was with, I believe it's within our code that I was reading that these waivers need to be included in any subcontractor contract.
Subcontracting or independent contracting, two different things.
Again, I was looking at section 32 and it refers to, on section 11, it refers to 3202 G1. But G2, just in that same section, is where it seemed to require these waivers in any contract. Again, I think we're wrong in misinterpreting, but I did read it.
Can we pass this contract just I mean, with the contingency that we look into that before we go forward?
This is,
That's not the motion on the table.
so your attorney has provided this to you and your attorney has your best interest, I do believe, but you're welcome to pass it however you feel like you need to pass it. Or not at all.
Or not. Yeah. Any further discussion? Councilor Quinn?
Can you tell us what the status of Gary Milliman's original contract is?
He was a municipal judge, and now this is a hearings officer.
I know that well. What's the status of his municipal judge contract that we had with him? It was never actually.
It was, sorry.
I mean, he never came to perform service for us. That was what he said. The contract was the contract, but it's still in effect.
No, it is not. It is expired and that's why this one, and also because we don't have the funding for jails, providing defense, public defending.
Which was the whole point about changing it. The only money we are out would be $300 for each time,
Per session.
per session with this contract.
That seems very reasonable to me.
Definitely.
I'm sorry, Nikki, would you, what do we recommend?
No, I just said definitely it's very
I
reasonable.
just heard a sound up there. Okay. So. Okay. We're cutting out a little bit, but I think I got it. All right, so if we're finished discussing it, I will close the session. Session's closed. All in favor, raise your hand and say aye. Aye.
Aye.
Could you restate that, please?
Restate the motion. Yeah. I think you made the motion out.
The
The
motion,
motion was to accept the contract for hearings officer
with Gary Milliman.
with Gary Milliman. Yes. Okay, so the vote is for that. All in favor, say aye and raise your hand.
Aye.
So we have Counselor Wood, Counselor Pointer, Counselor Ward, Mayor Crouch, and Counselor Miller, and Counselor Carlisle, aye. All opposed, raise your hand and say no.
Again, I am very much in favor of getting this done, but I don't have an
The
answer.
motion on, we're still taking the vote, so.
I understand, and I'm voting, and I'm saying that I'm voting no, but it's only because I haven't gotten any sort of response or answer to my question on section 11.
Okay, and Counselor Hand is a no. Can we get everybody on that? Okay. Motion passed. All right. Now we are up to Coos County Library, City of Lakeside contract renewal, action items. So do you want me to read, Joe Blunt?
Oh, I can do that.
Okay.
To all Coos County Library Directors, please find attached the contract for library services for fiscal year July 1, 2024 through June 30, 2025. Please arrange for this contract to be approved by your governing body and signed by the appropriate official. Once signed, please arrange for a return to our office so that we can obtain approval for the Board of Commissioners, acting as Library Service District governing body. Once fully executed, we will disperse copies to everyone. Please return to our office by no later than September 30th of 2024. If you have any questions, please don't hesitate to contact me at 541, oh, sorry, I won't say that, or email, which is preferable. That's the legal office manager for Coos County Office of Legal Counsel. And this is the same contract as last year from what I understand. Standard.
Would somebody like to make a motion?
I'll make a motion to approve the contract for the library service.
I'll second that.
Great. It's now open for discussion. Any counselors would like to make a statement or comment? I'm assuming that's a no. The contract is now up for a vote. The contract, the motion was made to sign the contract for library services. All in favor, raise your hand and say aye.
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 All opposed, raise your hand and say no. Okay, motion passes. All right. The next item on the agenda is Eco-Rooter contract action item. Eco-Rooter request to dump into our wastewater plant. Staff is available. The man buddy is here, available for questions if we have it. Essentially, this is a contract for a period of looks like 4 to 5 weeks, where we'll get 20 cents per gallon.
Yes,
Is there anything else that you'd like to add?
no, I was approached by Patrick Flynn with the Eco-Rooter. They got a project out at Dune Ranch, the RV park out there where they're going to be replacing and repairing the old bad septic system out there. And from what I understand, they got to put out a sound filtration system. So while they're replacing the tanks, they'll have to pump out a tank at an average of 5,000 gallons a day. We haul heavy sludge around 2 to 3% at 25 cents a gallon. So in my head, I was trying to think of a fair price. I know what he's got to charge if he's got to haul his trucks all the way down to Homer, Oregon, which is where Herd Farms is. It's the only place you can actually take your sewage to that can dispose of it through corporates and municipalities. I threw out 20 cents. I thought about it. It's just going to be raw sewage, daily sewage. We'll be in sort of the winter time. We'll have a lot of what we call I&I infiltration of regular water. Usually our plant's starving for food around that time. So this would be actually food coming into the plant. The plant should handle it. They'd have it dumped up at North Site where I have a screening grade up there. So there's like toilet paper, baby wipes, or flushables. If we can catch it before it goes, it'll go through a pump system and then merge in with the rest of the interceptor collection, which, you know, I look at he's taking around 150,000 gallons. So I picked or 150,000 gallons through the time. That would be around $30,000 of money that we're bringing in. I mean, normally where our money's going out. I'm looking at trying to bring us in, at least a little some money.
So how much is this gonna cost us to process his sewage?
No, it'll just be like standard operation. Since we lost Shutters Creek, we've lost about 30,000 gallons a day. So we're actually, since 2 years now, we like in the summertime, we're down to like 120, 130,000 gallons coming in, where we used to have around 200,000 to 180,000 coming in with Shutters Creek go. So it won't affect us one bit. Great.
And I'm assuming since we've got a lot of capacity now, that capacity won't be an issue.
No, unless if we're flooding at the plant, and then our capacity's at a stretch. And then I would have to tell them, no, you're gonna have. Right. He understands that there's emergencies and stuff like that, but I think this goes smoothly. It'll be around November, December, usually February or January, February is when we start seeing our flooding weather around here. That's when we vote in, or some of you locals know about our weather patterns here.
I loved the pictures last year.
Yeah, that was our 2 new guys that's got to experience it. I have a fire hydrant out in front of the plant that I have a picture of it on our computer where it's only the blue cap showing, but I've seen the fire hydrant. 2015 was the worst flood. So I've been here my name is Buddy McKellian with the city of Lakeside. I've been here, senior employee or senior wastewater operator out there. I've been here 14 years of service, and I've seen a lot of weird stuff. But you know, I've been maintenance. I've had a lot of challenges, daily challenges. That's an old wastewater plant out there. She's tired, but you know, I've kept parts going. We keep it going. Things ain't getting cheaper. So I was approached by Patrick Flynn, and I thought it'd be a great opportunity to bring in money. You know, I'm not gonna turn down anywhere. So I would like to see this approved now. I talked to Patrick Flynn today, and the bids were supposed to be closing today, so he still wasn't quite sure if he was going to get the bid, but he said he sounds like he was going to get it. But I had to throw that out there that this is if he gets the bid. Okay. And so we're trying to get way in advance, so we all on the same page.
So it's attractive to him. Did I ever make a motion on this?
No.
No? Excuse me. Would somebody like to make a motion on this contract?
I'll make a motion to approve the contract with the Conroe Rooter to dump the sewage.
Yes.
Yes. At 20 cents per gallon.
Do I hear a second?
Second.
I second.
Great. Does any counselors have any other questions of, but
This would basically be a no cost, no additional cost for the city.
Go ahead.
No.
I had written down a couple questions, and I think we got the answers to two of them. Was, do we have the capacity? And it sounds like we do. And the second question was, is the 20 cents gonna be a positive, or, you know, how does that compare to what we?
We won't even know it's coming down the plant. It'll just be like normal processing for us. It's just, we're given an opportunity. Now, when it comes to like pumping out these septic tanks and stuff, we can outrun that stuff. That stuff has too much material, too much bacteria, and that would hurt our plant. But this being a daily raw, now the first loads they'll take, they'll haul it off, and then it will just be the raw daily pump outs. So it just basically just be same as what the town purchased, except we're only 5,000.
And then my third question was, what happens if for whatever reason, because we have an old plant, what happens if we have downtime? Are we gonna end up getting stuck with a bill to haul his stuff somewhere?
No, it's pretty, if we lose the plant, we're in bigger trouble, you know, and so. No, it should be any effects. Plus, I also have a way to fly up at Northside. You can plug in, and actually I could put that. I can have one of the 3 cells of our digesters, make one of them empty. We can actually pump it into one of those tanks and then trickle it on down to the plant. We have a way.
A storage solution.
I have 60,000 gallons per tank. So, and I can make it work.
Thank you.
And, sorry.
go ahead, Chris.
Also, Mr. Sabadra has said that this is a fair deal. He approves of it.
Yeah, he was surprised. It's like, wow, 20 cents? Because usually some places around 10, like if you go to like out of truck and go to like City of Eugene, it's about 15 to 20 or 10 to 15 cents a gallon. So I highballed on it a little bit, considering it's not raw sludge like we do to ship to Herd Farms, which is our hauls our sludge.
We have special processing.
Yeah.
Any other comments from any of the counselors? Okay, we'll bring it to a vote. The motion is to approve the contract with Echo Rooter for pending approval, pending the deal is done. I'm not wording it too eloquently, but that is what it is. All in favor, say, raise your hand and say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, raise your hand and say no. Motion passes. Okay, now we are going to the fencing contract. Now I'll go ahead and take it from there.
Fencing. I'm sorry, so we're at.
Yeah, you can explain what we're doing. Oh, I'm sorry, buddy. You can go ahead and sit down there.
No, he's for fencing.
Oh, you're both, okay. Well, then you can stay up there. No, right. Right. Okay, over to you now.
If some of you locals didn't know, we had a law enforcement case started out in Gardner with a Ford pickup truck, and I happened to watch it go by, and I was like, when I seen it headed into Lakeside, I go, this can't be good. I was asked by the local state police and local sheriff, could we open up the gates down at the airport? Because they said we seen them in a foot pursuit going across the airport. As I was talking to one of the local officers, he happened to say, I asked him, where did he wreck at? He said, all the building up on top of the road, he plowed through the gate. And so he took out almost 80 feet of the gate plus a sliding gate that's not cheap. the original company that built that fence up there was Island Fencing out of Junction City. And I've called like 5 different fencing companies even up to Washington, didn't get any replies back. We also have West Coast Fencing, which is out of Coos Bay, that I had them come out here because they've done the airport and a couple of small projects about securing the pump station 1 because of transient issues and stuff like that. They gave the lowest bid around 17K and some change, and I forget what the Island Fencing out of Junction. But I had another company I was trying to get out of Roseburg because we have to use commercial contractors. We can't use residential because of the $1 million bonding that it goes on to. So I was calling like even the local fencing companies around here, but because they're all commercial, and it's like, well, if you want a cedar fence up, we can do that. But it's that sliding gate is what's the downside to it. And so I would say go with our local fencing company out of West Coast Fencing. And this is supposed to be, should be covered under our CIS insurance because it was an accident.
That was gonna be my next question.
Yeah. From what I understand from talking to Chris, we've just been waiting for the approval of you guys so we can get the insurance company to pay for this. You get that temporary fencing. I think we're paying $80 a month for the temporary fencing up there.
Okay, let's go ahead and make a motion to award the contract to, I believe you were recommending West Coast Fencing.
They're local and a lot cheaper.
So I'm making a motion to award the contract to West Coast Fencing for the repairs to the sewer plants. Do I have a second? Okay, I do have one question. There's quite a discrepancy in price between the two individuals. Is Island Fencing offering something additional that West Coast Fencing isn't offering, or is it because they're coming
We're
through?
getting that sliding gates coming from one company.
Okay,
And so I think it's due to travel. They're probably charging more for travel time because they're coming in all the way from Junction City.
okay.
I was sticker shocked just on, I knew the gate was going to be cheaper.
Yeah.
And so I was a little sticker shocked, at least hopefully the insurance covers all. And hopefully that guy doesn't get on the road for a long time. They did catch him.
Yes. Do any of the counselors have additional questions or statements they would like to make?
I do.
Councilman Harris, and then we'll do Council Wood.
Okay, my first question was, I did not see page 1 of that estimate in our packet.
Yep.
And I was wondering if we can even consider this without seeing page 1 of the contract or the estimate.
Or did somebody?
On the back page,
I didn't see it anywhere in the packet.
I brought this up on Friday. It's incomplete bid.
I'm sorry, I have one page for West Coast.
Yeah, and it's a 2-page contract.
It says page 2.
Um,
And what's on the right-hand side of there doesn't add up to the total, so there's really another page.
Do you have?
I don't have the money. I gave you the whole.
One page, that's what I have.
Do we get a second page? The first page?
I don't have a second page.
I mean, we obviously want to get bids done, but we don't have a full bid to consider. I had a second question, was about at the very end of the last item on the second page, there is $1,600 for administrative overhead. I don't know why that stands out to me, but in business, I don't understand that. It just doesn't make sense to me why they would just tack $1,600 on to the end.
It's
And I
like,
guess that doesn't matter so much if we're 100% sure it's covered by insurance.
it is covered and the insurance called me yesterday to ask if you guys had approved something so that they could get this closed out and repaired. But it does say mileage to and from the job site, is the $1,600, I believe. I don't think there's anything under administrative and overhead.
The line item for administrative and overhead says 1 hour at $1,600.
Yes.
So,
$1,600 an hour, it says.
so I've got a question for everybody here. We have totals for the fencing project. We're looking to get the fence repaired. You know, looking at this contract here and, you know, as a counselor, are you an expert in fencing? You know, that type of thing. I think maybe we're overlooking this, and that's my personal opinion.
Can I speak since I had requested?
Oh, I'm sorry, I was out of turn.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Councilwoman.
Well, I know it's hard to get quotes for this, Buddy. But per our city charter, we're supposed to have 3 bids for things to consider. But also, I mean, just based upon the fact that I don't have a complete bid in front of me, I'm not gonna vote yes on this at this moment.
Mayor,
Please.
there's documentation when this is very difficult time to get people to come out and give quotes, especially for the decking on the senior center. People are not coming out. So when you do informal solicitation, you document that you have called people. We can't get people to come out.
How many people did you contact, Buddy?
I contacted some of the fencing companies around here, I think there were 4 fencing companies here locally, but they're all residential, basically wooden fence, small cyclone fences. They can't do commercial.
This is also in the packet, the documentation that he called.
Okay.
And I was waiting on for the 3rd bid because there's one big company out of Roseburg that does the iron gates, iron fences, 6 foot. And I emailed them, I called them numerous times, just never heard anything back.
So,
And I even sent them pictures of the gate and stuff, maybe, I don't know, they was like, okay, we don't, I don't, it is getting harder to try to get more contractors, even in our industry, when it comes to pumps and everything. It's getting down to a select few options.
exactly. With anything right now, it takes me a year to get any of them done in my house.
Absolutely.
Councilor Miller?
Would it be hard to just call West Coast Fencing and have a discussion with them and say, tell them what our problem is with our bid and the missing page, and let's get a new one? I'm sure they'd be happy to do that.
Yeah, somebody has to get a page somewhere.
Yeah, I can check. Oh, sorry, go ahead.
Sorry, I mean, I think I remember when it was brought up 3 months ago or something. I mean, I remember looking at the bid and checking it out, and there was more than 1 page, so somewhere it got lost.
I should have that as a plan on my emails. Just have to go. I apologize. So I had my notes, but I didn't have the bids on me, so I apologize for that.
Is this something potentially we could just give just a couple minutes at our special meeting Monday? Maybe we can see that first page and get this knocked out in 5 minutes.
Should be simple, I would think, yes.
Would that work?
Okay, the motion on the, are we done with the discussion? I'm assuming we are. The motion on the table is to award the bid to West Coast Fencing for the repair of the gate at the wastewater plant. All in favor, raise your hand and say aye. All opposed, raise your hand and say no.
No.
Okay, I make a motion to table the discussion on awarding the fence for a special meeting on Monday.
I second that.
All in favor, raise your hand and say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, say no. Okay, motion passes. Right. Now, the next one is the decking contract for the senior building. Request from the seniors to replace the deck. I'm not sure that I have any information on that.
I had it on here and then I was told to take it off because there was too much business. So could we move that agenda item?
So I make a motion to table the decking contract until the next regular council meeting. All in favor, say aye.
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 All opposed, say no. I'm sorry, fencing contract.
Senior center.
Yes,
Decking.
I rescind my motion or whatever. Again, I'm gonna repeat it and, all in favor, we did actually make the correct motion, so all in favor of the decking contract all in favor of making a motion to table the decking contract until the next regular council meeting. Raise your hand and say aye.
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 Motion to the side.
It's not a motion, it was, we made a motion originally, correct?
Yep.
You just said the motion, you said it was motion.
Okay. You're right. So there is no motion. The motion on the table is for the decking contract for the senior building. That motion was not approved. I'm making a second motion. I'm making a new motion for the to table the decking contract for the senior building to next month's council meeting. Can I have a second? Great. We're open for discussion. Any discussion on that? No? Okay. I move to vote on the motion to move the decking contract for the senior building to the next regular council meeting. All in favor, say aye. Aye.
Aye.
All opposed, say no. The motion passes. Okay. Mayor assessment of goals discussion. I provided everybody with some of my thoughts on where the city is going and that type of thing. I'm hoping people had a chance to read it. What I'm going to do is I'm going to just go over the highlights of that. First off, I'd like to state to everybody that the council has actually done quite a few items this year. One of them was that we actually were actually able to fix the manhole covers. We were able to pass code enforcement that we can actually use now. We were able to start a code enforcement committee. We've also been able to fix our Airbnb ordinance. We've also, we're getting close to getting that memorandum of understanding so we can clean up one of our problem properties. So we've accomplished some things, but I was a little concerned about what actually happened in the meeting last week. We had a dozen residents speak in regards to how they were very disappointed in what we've done and that they don't feel safe and that the situation seemed to continue to get worse. So one of the things that I wanted to bring up was, and I would prefer to do that, and I'd like to do this in a workshop, but I provided everybody with some thought questions in regard to, are we going, are we meeting our goal? Which I believe the only one was really code enforcement, and that wasn't formalized. And, are we doing the right thing? Are we doing the right things for the citizens? Is this what they want? Now, you might have said, well, the group in that meeting was just a small subsection, but I've talked to people outside of the bubble of the city government, and they're expressing the same thing. We've heard additional complaints, very recently. So one of the things is I would like to have a workshop where we're actually discussing are our goals and is our direction correct? Another thing about goals, priorities, and direction has to do with, do we have the capacity as a city to actually execute these goals? There's been a lot of changeover in staff. One of the things that I've actually noticed was that our turnover rate is way out of whack with the state of Oregon. We have 5 times the amount of turnover for city managers. We have 5 times the amount of turnover for city office staff. I'm noticing things like, for some reason I lost my notes, so I apologize. I think they're somewhere, yeah, I might as well do that to me. I apologize, I lost these. Also, a lack of knowledge of the city and state regulations by the general staff. City manager seems to have a pretty good understanding of that. Lack of knowledge of the appropriate institutions. This is more what we call institutional knowledge, like, who do I go to for this and that? And that's something to do with staff flipping over all the time. Costly recruitment efforts and disruption of service. And then mistakes being made on things like permits and licenses and enforcement actions, little to no follow-up. And we can all talk about, we can all theorize what the problems are with our city government or our city staff. It really boils down to, we should be asking the people who are actually running the city. And so one of my requests would be, upon approval of the council, is to have the city manager create a plan in regards to how we're going to try to dig out the situation. Now, the situation just didn't start yesterday. I mean, since I noticed it starting to really go downhill about 4 years ago, and about the last 2.5 years, it's just been escalating. And I'm telling you, we're getting to the point where, city collapse. So we really need to do something to handle this situation. One of the things would be and another thing too is the things that I would like to see in this plan would be, a plan to stabilize the staff, a plan to, get our employees knowledgeable and experienced, and set a few goals in that. And most importantly, I want to find out what we as a council can do to help. Because, we theorize, certain things are coming up that are causing these problems. But, as far as I'm concerned, we need to go to the source, which would be our city manager. Those are my thoughts. I really think we can solve this problem if we focus on it and we have a commitment to it. So my proposal, if the council agrees, is to have a workshop to discuss priorities and issues involved with the priorities and our ability to actually work on our priorities. After the city manager provides a plan of attack for us. That's my proposal. You guys let me know what you think. Comments are open. However you feel.
I'm just, are we discussing having a workshop to do this?
Yes, a workshop. A workshop once we, well, there's two asks. One is to have the city manager draft a plan. And then the other ask is to have a workshop.
So
is the city manager setting the goals?
Yes. And in concert with the workshop. See, a workshop is just something where we sit down and we discuss it. And we don't make an action to actually do something. But this is to find out where we need to go with everything. And that's, you know, take a positive approach to solving the problems of the city and with a knowledgeable base as to where we want to go. Yeah, that's what I'm looking for.
So the turnover of the city council, I believe that's one of the biggest problems we have with the city of Lakeside.
Well, I would probably want to talk about this in the workshop. And I'm not talking about the turnover with the council. I'm talking about the turnover in space staff. That's what the workshop would be. Did you want to include the turnover? I mean, because that's an election type of thing. We don't really have a choice on that one.
Yeah, but
Election and personal.
you were talking about getting the council involved. There's a lot of turnover, I believe, in the council that has to be discussed also.
Well, what I'm talking about, the council involvement is somebody telling us what they need and we deciding, you know, how we can help out. That's what I was talking about. It's a discussion at this point. That's what I'm talking about. Any further discussion or questions?
I'm very much in favor as many meetings as it takes for us to get the city in a better condition. I would support that workshop.
Okay, do we want to take a vote? Is everybody in favor of it? Everybody who's in favor of it, raise your hand and say aye.
Aye.
For a workshop, yeah, just workshop, yeah.
Roger.
All opposed, raise your hand and say no. Okay, well, great. Well, thank you very much. Like I said, I think we can actually, if this is done right, I think we can actually turn the city in the right direction. It's going to be a task, but hey, let's do it. All right. Thank you. I appreciate everybody, all the councilors' time and listening to me go over that.
Are we setting a date for this workshop?
Not until, you know, I'm waiting for the plan. Krista, when do you think you'll have the plan done? What can you commit to? You're gonna have to write it. A month?
I don't know, at least, let me get through audit.
Yeah,
And
absolutely. Remember your priorities. You need to get through audit first. So it will be a month, maybe more, but let's just not forget it.
Yeah.
Okay. Does that answer your question, Nikki?
Yeah, that's fine.
Thank you. All right. So the next one is Planning Commissioner request for an open hearing. City manager has instructed 8/24 by the count, was instructed 8/24 by the council, which are our last council meeting, to getting a counting of events from all parties. Council action and inaction on the item is what we're going to decide if the council wishes I can put this as an action item. This,
I don't have anything in my packet.
It's a private, information, so we couldn't put it out to the public, is that why?
Correct.
Okay. No, I was just gonna be. Okay. Look at all this stuff.
So wait, you guys all got stuff about this and I didn't?
Yes,
When was this put in our box?
it was handed out at the meeting due to the private information.
And I mean, I couldn't get an email copy of that.
I didn't know that I could send it out, and I didn't know for sure that you weren't gonna be here, so I have
Yeah,
it here for you. I'm happy to go have staff send you a copy really quick.
I mean, I'd like to be able to know what we're talking about, especially something like this. If possible. I know it was last minute, but I did email at 4:30 saying I was joining by Zoom.
so, okay. I'll just caution you, Council Wood, that this information is confidential.
Yeah, I'm aware. I just would like to be on the same page as the rest of council.
Yeah, it was just a presumption.
Amanda's gonna scan it and email it over to you right quick.
Thank you.
So, how do we all take a 5-minute break? Relax.
We could go out and order here.
Actually, Councilor Ward made a very good suggestion. If everybody's okay with it, I'd like to switch the order of the agenda. And move that one to further down on the list and continue on with the other items. If that has the approval of the council.
Yep, yes.
Yeah.
There you go. Somebody's saying, good job.
Good job.
All right, item number 16. These are the reports of Lakeside District Board and committee reports. Let's start off with the airport committee. Who's got that one? Nobody? Nobody from the airport, okay. Watershed, Councilor Miller. Now that we've gone you off the game.
Digging for my notes here. The Benson Creek Wetlands Restoration Project is completed. Next on the agenda is a restoration project, kind of the same magnitude on Big Creek Farm. That land has been purchased and will close October, I believe, October 1. Lake level's up around 6 feet. Algae monitoring's going on. The creek project's still working good, hence the 6 feet this time of year, so, which is good. The Kids Free Fishing Day that took place, and I think that was in June. Yeah, was well attended, 200 kids. They did a weed abatement spraying of the lily pads in the canal. And just from my personal observation, it looks like it's working. It looks like there's fewer to me. So that's it.
Great. The next item is the water district.
Or Mr. Springer went Tuesday, and they passed their legislation to eliminate their snowbird discount and to raise the water rates. So that is a done deal. And we had a report from the engineer on work to the plant upgrades. We're gonna get started.
Great. Counselor Carlisle, 10 Mile Lake Association.
Okay, I'm gonna go over this again. I know somebody else already went to the podium and said everything about this. But there is a big dinner tomorrow night. Like I said, there's about 10 tickets left. They're $50 a piece. It's featuring Brett Brownskung from the Oregon State Department of State Lands, speaking about the history and the future of the Elliott State Forest. The forest is the biggest landowner on the 10-mile watershed, and its future greatly impacts our water quality. Like I said earlier, there's 10 tickets left. You can, they're $50 a piece for the dinner. You can, I don't have the number exactly right now on my chart, but if you wanted to contact somebody from the 10 Mile Lake Association and get tickets either tonight or early tomorrow morning.
Great. So the next one is the fire district, Counselor Fire again.
Fire district met Wednesday evening and had discussed our regular business, and there was discussion of the seismic upgrade that's going to be done at the fire station, and it is, the engineering and planning is in progress on that. Fire calls this week, we had 56 calls, with 28 of them on the north side of the tracks, which emphasizes the need for a station over there. And we continue to work on that. That's about it.
Great, thank you. Lakeside business owners, Counselor Hand.
Yeah, last night we had had a meeting with pretty good attendance at Osprey Point, and in that meeting we discussed kind of a debrief of the summer events that had happened, and we got some good feedback, and I think we can continue to do those events and make them a little bit better each year. We also started the discussion of the holiday activities. Those activities will start at the beginning of December with the lighting up of downtown and a holiday light contest for the homes in the community. About 2 weeks after that, we'll have the vendor event that we've been doing for the last couple of years, and we have some really exciting plans to make that even more exciting than it was last year. That's it. Yeah, we're just all really excited for the holidays and encourage everybody to dig those Christmas lights out of the attic.
Great. And lastly, Counselor Ward with code enforcement.
It's actually Counselor.
Okay,
Yeah.
Counselor Wood.
We didn't have a meeting this
Okay.
month.
Nothing new. Okay, good. Now it's the city manager's report.
So I apologize for not having my report in my packet. I had my computer restarted and it didn't get saved and I couldn't recover it. So I did write a report. It is 4 pages long, so I did include it in some of these ones up here. So I'm either happy to go over that or just provide some other commentary, which is I met with Fire Chief Jeremy, and we had a discussion about how to include each other in discussions with the city. He's interested in obtaining some land on the other side of the railroad so that he can get a $2.2 million grant. Also, we talked about like for building permits and things, how we will start routing those to get signed off on. With the e-permitting, we talked about how that will work and that we can set it up to where he would have to sign off in order for the permits to go through that are required him to sign off on. I also talked with Mater, and Mater is excited about the e-permitting as well. And starting to get to know people, build relationships, and going forward.
Good. Anything else in your staff report?
Staff.
Or your not your staff report, but your mayor's report? Your
Manager's report.
City manager report. And you can summarize.
I did have some announcemements about Mr. Dave Moeller, who runs the community garden, says that he would like to help us around City Hall by donating, or for us to donate plants in the spring and make it more colorful. He'll happily garden it. If we would like to get together and prepare the beds so that come spring, we're ready for planting. We can do that. There's also the Wolfie Beach cleanup on the 21st. There's some flyers around about what not to bring, toxic chemicals and things like that, tires that are not on rims. I had a conversation with the Reedsport Police Chief, Cutshall, in order to see about how we can bring law enforcement here. They are interested in having a conversation with me and the city manager to see what they could offer us. Obviously, we would have to pay for it, but whether that's once a day, or sorry, once a week, twice a week, what that looks like. So I would like to go and meet with them just to see what they're thinking of. We do have mutual aid with them, they respond. But in the wake of a lot of these complaints not being responded to, I would like to meet with Mr. Cutshall and Deanna, city manager. The LOC League Morgan Cities conference is coming up in October. I plan on going to that as long as there's no you tell me not to go. The bank signers, we had lots of problems getting people on the bank accounts. Everybody's on the bank account that's supposed to be now. We've removed 5 people off of the bank account. The online banking as well, and it was registered to Heather from 5 city managers ago. Our wastewater pump station 2 generator is down. I need to call emergency management and see what we can do about bringing in an emergency generator. I've been working on audit. We're getting lots of questions about with the homeless, a lot of complaints. Every time they move, when they start grouping together, we get, where would they like to go? Where should they go? I don't know what to tell them. By law, we're supposed to have time, place, and manner that dedicates a space where they can be and not have grievances against them at night or whatever. So maybe that is something that the council looks to, so that we're legal and telling them where they can be instead of where they can't be. We talked about elections, and that's. Oh, Mr. Sabadra has resigned, and we will be posting his position. Public Works Supervisor.
Thank you. Anybody have any questions?
It was my understanding that Sabadra, am I pronouncing that right? That he was somehow like on a part-time or an hourly situation. Did we budget for the full-time position?
No.
So how are we gonna put out for the position if we haven't budgeted for the position?
If we don't, then you will be, the EQ will fine you way bigger than figuring out how to do it.
And I understand that, At one point, we were told that some other staff members were trying to get to the qualification point.
They are trying, but that is not, as much as, he has been trying to teach the other staff members that nobody is certified to do the DMR work.
What we need is a license for operator.
That is what Mr. Spotter has suggested, is that we hire a full-time person. He was hired full-time, I understand. And because of health issues has pulled back to just keeping us certified. I think that's some of why we're seeing some degradation in services.
So we're going to have to open up the budget and figure out what we can do.
But I will mention that the 30,000 that Buddy is gonna bring in will help for that, so.
This is gonna
All
make
right,
it back.
we need some type of this all relying on that one. Yeah. Yes, we did. I was told that somebody who has a class 4 license cost about $130,000 a year. So we gotta figure out something.
There's also, what I was thinking is that, League of Oregon Cities, I attended a small, city meeting in North Bend. And they are talking about, there is a shortage of wastewater operators all around. It's not just here, it's all over the state. Currently SWAC has a program. Now, whether we get somebody, that is graduating with that level of certification, I don't know. I did put a call in for, internships and things like that, but I will investigate all of our options.
And there was another option that we've used in the past, and that was having a contractor come in and certify. So maybe that's a possibility too in the short.
Yeah.
Because otherwise, you just have a house and home.
Or is there some potential that we have some sort of interlocal agreement with someone else that might be willing to help us in the meantime?
I will try. Ideally that we have somebody here, because of the new plant that we're building, they need to be on top of that as well.
I understand. I'm just saying in the meantime, between when he leaves and when we can find somebody to help out.
We'll do something. All right, yeah, anything else? I don't know why you think the worst for the last.
I don't think so.
Okay. Good.
Oh, sorry, one more thing, yes, just a reminder that we do need to pass the supplemental budget. I need to get caught up for a minute. We were supposed to do it in September, but I'm gonna push it out for October.
Okay. We might have some changes if we're short. So,
Well, there's only so much legally that we can move,
I
but
understand.
yeah.
What are we moving things around in the budget for?
Well, nothing at this point in time, but if we have to pay for a wastewater manager,
Oh, got it.
gotta come up with the money somewhere.
There's also some discussion at some point about some numbers that weren't right on one, and I thought that was what our.
Correct. The library contingency that the budget officer presented and committee approved. When it came to council, the resolution did not include the $25,000 contingency, which is what the library uses to run on between 2025 and the next fiscal year. Yeah, 25,000. So it's essential that they have that to survive.
And that's the answer to Councilor Wood's question?
Yes,
Okay.
I think.
Yeah, I mean, we'll just see it when the time comes.
Okay. No announcements. I see here, cleanup day, September 21st, at Wolf Beach, and
It is suggested that people that, I guess there's some groups that are out there that are already offering to help out elderly and disabled people. I don't know who those are. I've just heard that it was a thing. And so it suggested that people have their trailers and items ready to go. And usually it's pretty full, so
Yeah.
9 to 2.
Councilor Caroline?
I've also put that out there on Facebook and some other sites that I was willing for my truck and trailer. And I know Paul from Sires, he actually said the same thing, that he'd have his truck and trailer for anybody that needs help to get their belongings or whatever they want to take care of down to the site.
Great. Fantastic.
There's a bunch of us that are. Sarah, Mike Armstrong.
Those are the only the only reason I knew that is because Paul contacted me, and so I'm sure there's other people out there.
Yeah.
Paul actually has a sign-up sheet in his, at the power sports place, so if you know an elderly person who needs something, get a hold of him and look at it.
Very good.
And Dune Riders also.
Is there a way that we can get communication out to people who don't do Facebook anymore?
We have a city website page.
Or the reader board.
So if you can provide, is that if somebody provides it? Yeah. Yeah, we have the announcement, and if you have details you'd like to provide, is there room on the website? Okay. I don't know, with the website, you catch anything? Yeah. Thank you, Alan, I appreciate it. Okay, Councilor Wood, have you had an opportunity to review the information?
Yeah, I did. Thank you for sending that to me. I appreciate it.
Okay. I'm not sure how we proceed from here. I do want to thank Commissioner Smith for wanting to make it public. I think everything out in the open is great. Let's wait. Can you give us some direction on how this is supposed to go?
So I'll just provide some context, I guess, is that I don't know how much is supposed to be public, but.
All of it.
Okay. So,
The
I
only person would be, I believe, well, we're talking about another employee, though.
Correct.
Not an employee.
No, I'm talking about Sean.
Also, the investigator is doing the investigation as part of the investigation itself, so I don't see how that can be a commercial, but let's go for it. Have an opening statement.
Okay, we won't disclose, if everybody's okay with it, we won't disclose Sean Warren's. Yeah, and then the
Are we-
other person.
Are we allowed to talk about the employee? I didn't think that's what we.
We aren't going to talk about, we're only talking about the incident. We are not disclosing anything in regards to the employee. We'll mention, just the person and is this kosher?
If you would like to make a statement, but I feel like for context, we'll just give an overview of.
Yeah, you should give an overview first of the situation. And then, of course, we'll, let Mr. Smith speak. Does that sound good?
Yeah, you all should have got a envelope
Yes,
in
we
your
did.
box, so.
And we've all read it. At least I hope everybody's read it.
Oh.
I have.
I got it.
So on July 19th, I was not here. When I came back on Monday, there was a records request waiting for me. I'm the reporter. I do the records request. At 8:02, Mr. Smith came to get his records request. And I explained to him that that's not how records requests work, that there is some time allotted for us to go find the things that he's looking for. What he requested and told to me was that there was, as a commissioner, the commission is supposed to review code enforcement issues, because if somebody has a CUP, it goes to the commission first before code enforcement can happen. And so after we dialed in the records request and the specifics, what he was asking for was the log that was presented to council. And then the request specifically was for his address, and that he had seen in staff's office our intranet where his address was displayed, and he wanted that specific information. And staff had told me that the interactions that they had was very confrontational and pushed his way into the office, demanded to see the item. When I did the records request, his address did not come up on the log. We went back to 2018, and I called the mayor and asked how our behavior is handled amongst commission and counselors, and mayor got a hold of the commission chair, and there was supposed to be an apology to staff, is what I was told. And 2 days later, staff resigned, and it has just escalated to my understanding. There was a lot of back and forth between the mayor and the commissioner, chair, sorry. And what we have as far as an ORS is ORS 244.0433 says public officials often have access to or manage information that is confidential, not available to members of the general public. ORS 244.0404 specifically prohibits public officials from using or attempting to use confidential information gained because of the position held to further their own personal gain. And as this situation escalated, the mayor brought it to council for this conversation.
I have a question. We have video here. I'd like to see the video of me pushing my way into her office when I was invited.
Do we have video? We don't.
We don't even know who manages our video.
Wow. Another thing to get fixed.
Yep.
Yes.
Council and Mayor, I firmly believe that the investigation into my conduct as commissioner is unfounded. I disagree with the allegations and contend that the city manager is conflating two separate issues, one personal, one professional. I have submitted my response to the allegations in a detailed account of my recollection from those 2 days. Councilor Pointer, I request that you recuse yourself from this hearing. There have been 3 separate occasions witnessed publicly where you have directed inappropriate language towards myself, including an incident in chambers with Mayor Edwards. This, I question your ability to remain impartial. Councilor Ward, I also ask that you recuse yourself from this recuse yourself. You have previously stated in a letter to the Planning Commission that you could not collaborate with me. I question your ability to remain impartial as well. Mr. Mayor, I believe you should recuse yourself due to the previous vote against my appointment as Planning Commissioner. Additionally, your past behavior towards City Council, including attempts to intimidate, belittle city managers, as well as your efforts to harass dedicated local citizens, calls your impartiality into question. I am prepared to address any questions related to my statement or my response to the city manager's allegation.
Okay, let's stop it right here. Counselor Plunger, do you consider yourself not biased? Counselor Ward, do you consider yourself not biased?
I believe that I can make an unbiased decision.
Counselor Hand, do you believe you can make an unbiased decision?
I do.
I myself personally believe I can make an unbiased decision. Counselor Miller, do you believe you can make an unbiased decision?
Yes.
Counselor Carlisle, do you believe you can make an unbiased decision?
Yes.
Okay. Oh, Nikki, I'm sorry. Counselor Wood, do you believe you can make an unbiased decision?
Yeah, I believe so.
Okay, so that settles the question in regards to recusing. All, the matter of bias is the decision on the individual itself. All right. So would you like to continue with the incident, what happened, or?
You have the recollection.
Okay, do you want us to go off? Yes.
You have these 4 pages
Okay.
of my recollection.
Yeah,
Also-
which I read.
You also have me addressing each issue. You had interactions with the city manager on this paper. You have all of my answers there. So if you want
Very
any
good.
questions, you have any questions, feel free to ask.
Perfect. Good. I just want to make sure you had all the information you
I
need.
don't, because I don't have any information that the city manager has done after I submitted this. So, no, I do not have any information from you guys.
What information are you asking for?
Besides the confidential part of this, staff member, anything else you got, I haven't gotten. So in case you did, I haven't gotten it.
Okay, and, Krista, have you provided all the information that, is relevant?
Other than any personal conversations that you have had, after I
So
have.
you've presented it all in verbal. Okay, good. Yeah. So we can go ahead and ask questions. David welcomes questions. The first one I want to ask you, David, and I don't know that I really have a lot, is do you believe that your actions in requesting confidential information on yourself was appropriate?
One, I didn't know it was confidential until she clicked on it and I realized it was confidential. What I was asking for was personal. When I came in here professionally to ask was the top 10 code list that Rick had informed me that he was giving to you, Mayor, as well. And that there were some code enforcement CUPs that we might want to look at as a commission. And with our computer system being so bad as it is now, I had asked Rick to give us commissioners a copy of it. He left and he did not. So I came in Friday, like my statement says, and I was invited into the office.
Okay, somebody else like to ask a question?
I have a question is, do we not have video or we just don't have access to the record?
So a lot like the security issues that I have fixed, which was the TV wasn't even working when I got here and the locking and security of things. That's just one of the things I have not gotten to yet.
So potentially
So,
with video, we just haven't.
Correct, correct.
Another question, David. If this whole incident, if you had to do it over again, would you change any of the ways, knowing additional information? Would you
That the city
have done
manager
something
conflated two
different?
issues together.
No, I'm talking about the laws and that type of thing.
I know the law pretty well. Again, I've asked for training for all of us from the 3 past city managers and have yet to receive any. So again, I do my own research, do my own thinking, research, and there was nothing different. If I wasn't invited into the office, I would have never seen those 3 in a row that she clicked on. I didn't ask her to click on them. She clicked on them. I asked, what are those? She goes, oh, these are complaints. Click, let's see them. I didn't say let's see them. She clicked on them and I saw one. Then she clicked on another one and I saw another one. That's when I said, oh, that one's confidential. I'm not supposed to see that as a resident. As a citizen here, I'm not supposed to see that one. Oh, okay, sorry, here, you need to fill out a records request, and that's what I did.
Do you understand that you as a commissioner cannot request to see information that is confidential?
If
And
it has to do with planning, I might be able to. You'd have to look up under the ORS statutes to find out, but as a commissioner, yes, and any citizen can request public information.
correct, right?
And so as a citizen, that's what I did. Didn't get the top 10 list that you have. That's what Rick said.
Well, I have no idea what this topic.
Or your code enforcement. That's why I came in here to see her Friday, but again, the city manager stated she wasn't here at around 11:30.
Okay.
And when I came in at 8:03, 8:02, whatever it was, I teach my 2 granddaughters summer school from 9 a.m. to noon. So I have a very little bit of time, and I was told to come back Monday morning by staff.
Does other people have any questions? Councilor Ward raised his hand first.
Okay.
And if you maybe yell at me. Oh, go ahead first, Nikki.
I'm just confused. Is this a matter of behavior, or are we talking about an ethics violation? Because I feel, since you said he didn't actually have his address on any of those lists for the public records, how was he using that for personal gain? I guess I'm getting lost there.
Can you clarify?
I did not file an ethics complaint. Again, my practice is to educate people and to have a really robust education when people are newly elected and partway through their term, if they so desire. Again, I left the behavior and because appointments and things are not handled by me. So that is why I called the mayor and said, who handles this? Because it is not, I mean, I very well could have filed it. I didn't. But this has been taken out of my hands. So all I'm saying is that May 2nd, 2024, we have minutes that says, number 10 item, Commissioner Smith inquired about the Planning Commission working on code of conduct. Chair Thomas shared he felt that the current Planning Commission had enough respect for each other that it may not be a high priority at this time. We talked about training in our last meeting. It seems like it's a theme that comes up over and over. And again, I'm about education. So.
But the council doesn't want to escalate stuff if we can, handle it amongst ourselves. I mean, we first started off with counseling and then we moved to an investigation. I mean, we're not trying to, ruin people's lives or anything like that.
Yeah, no, I was just confused as to because we're citing some ORS issues here. I just don't see that there was a straight violation of that if he never even got any of the information on his own property, even if that was the case.
He did get information of his own property, and again, he made the correlation of the property across the street having a CUP because of the bear sign, fencing, whatever that is, and that if they were to have a code enforcement issue, that it should come to planning before enforcement is done. And then also continued on, because of his capacity as commissioner, asked for personal information that he gathered in his quest as commissioner. And so the ORS says that they have access to manage information that's confidential and that is not available to members of the public. And it specifically prohibits public officials from using or attempting to use confidential information gained because of the position held to further their own personal gain. It's not a financial gain, just a gain.
What is the gain? I don't understand what the gain is.
Sometimes it's stature, sometimes it's power, sometimes it's many other things that are not financial. Property interest, when you serve in government, all of you have a property interest in stature that you gain from serving.
Additional questions? Councilor Ward?
So Commissioner Smith, referring to your written comments, one of your statements was, my position was that the planning commission should revoke a conditional use permit before code enforcement actions can begin.
Correct.
What is the basis for your assertion?
You have to let them know from city staff that they're in violation so we can revoke their permit. So you gave us specific details on a property on how to revoke a permit when you were planning director, and we still have that. So going off what you told myself and probably our other commissioners in that letter, your statement about that one property, how we can go about revoking it. So it kind of goes hand in hand with code enforcement.
I believe you're confused, sir.
No.
I discussed with you property owners who are violating the conditions of their conditional use permit, not code violations. And
wouldn't a code violation be a CUP violation?
What you're suggesting here is that someone can allege a code violation and that.
You didn't allege anything in that.
Sir, you are alleging that as a process, someone could allege a code violation against a property owner with a conditional use permit. And that before that person has been had their due process to determine if a violation has even taken place, you want to proceed with a planning commission hearing to revoke their permit.
After the planning commission and city staff did their due diligence about the permit, we would have the information upon it. So no, I'm not mistaken. Thank you.
You're recommending a violation of due process. Okay, you also stated, I believe that as a planning commissioner, we should have access to the list of code violations for review. What is the basis for your assertion that the planning commission should be provided access to property code violations?
Why shouldn't it? The land use code.
Confidential information.
In your statements, you wrote right to review complaint logs as a commissioner. Response, I stated that as a planning commissioner, I believe I should have access to documents relating to planning matters.
Correct. Word for word.
What is the basis for your assertion that a log of citizen complaints is a planning matter?
Say that again.
What is the basis for your assertion that a log of citizen complaints is a planning matter?
Well, you didn't finish the rest of that statement, so let me finish it for you. I believe I should have access to the documents related to planning matters. As a resident, I also believe I have a right to access public information.
And what we're considering today is not whether you made a request for public information as a citizen, but you coming into City Hall and demanding from staff immediate access to information that you said was your right as a planning commissioner.
Interpretations, if you read my recollection, it doesn't say that at all. I was invited into the office. I would like to see the video of me pushing my way into her office. I would love that.
Get back to my question. What is the basis for your assertion that a log of citizen complaints is a planning matter? At this juncture, you have not
The
answered.
complaint wasn't a planning matter, it was a personal matter. Again, you're conflating two different issues.
Did you not mention, as a commissioner, you had a right
No.
to these?
Again, my response, I stated that as a planning commissioner, I believe I should have access to documents related to planning matters. As a resident, I also believe I have the right to access public information.
Then what planning matter did you ask for information on?
The top 10 that our old city manager had said he had given the mayor for code in violation for your code enforcement. And he said there was a CUP on there and we would want to look into it.
So another question in regards to that. Did the planning commission request this report?
I did, because Rick said he was going to give me one so we could share it with the planning chair and the two other people that are on the commission.
You do understand that any committee, including myself, should not be asking for lists, reports, and that type of thing unless it's approved by the group as a whole. Do you understand that?
Sure.
Okay. We don't have a videotape of the altercation. We do have some information on that. It's from the city manager. There are other things in regards to staff being very upset and obviously quitting. Somebody who we probably invested a couple $1,000s in because our staff felt threatened. What do you propose? What do you think we should do about
It's
this?
up to you. I don't care.
What do you personally think that you should do about that?
Nothing, and I do not think it was just because of me that she resigned, from what I'm understanding. So, again, whatever you decide is fine.
Well, okay, we'll leave it at that. Okay. Remember, we're not taking comments.
We're talking to each other.
Okay.
Sorry.
Sorry,
Not sorry.
I got new hearing aids. I can hear everything now. So
Mine are.
maybe I should turn mine down. Okay, fine. Do we have additional questions? Discussion on this? I don't know.
Have 2 stories.
Yeah, and we don't have a lot of,
This list of 10 items.
same thing. But it was right talking today on that one.
It seems to me the most concerning allegation is the allegation that David pushed himself into the office. I think that's a really defining point in all this.
Which we can't prove one way or another.
And we don't currently have access to any way to support either side of that. We have a statement and some other statements.
May I?
Yes.
It wasn't physically pushing. It was verbally pushing. It's bullying.
Yeah, bullying is bullying. I mean, you know, it doesn't have to be physical. And most times it's not.
Would our typical video have any audio?
I don't know. I haven't.
So again, we don't have access to the information to confirm or deny that allegation. I mean, we have some statements on one side and we have a statement on the other side, but we're not been presented with any evidence to support either.
I've given you testimony. That's evidence.
So we got evidence on one side, we got evidence on the other side.
Sean is asking to comment on the chat.
Oh,
Sean, I want you to realize that you don't have to comment. We are attempting to keep, your information private, so I just wanted to make you aware of that.
um,
And,
Just
you
one
know,
second.
Please let me know that you're doing this freely.
oh, she's unmuted.
Hi, Sean.
Hi, guys. I'm here.
Evening.
I do not feel violated per se by David Smith. I just think that he got very excited about the fact that he had entered behind me and was able to see my monitor. I did not ask him there. I was mortified that he was back there and saw it, and I asked him not to repeat that he saw it. And then he came in bright and early Monday morning, from the following Friday. And he asked for the records that he wanted to see. He had filled out the request form, and I told him it would take a number of days for Krista to be able to get them together. That's the extent of it. I have nothing else on it. I do not want to be enemies with David Smith. I think he's done a lot of hard work for the community.
Yes.
And it was only part and parcel to the resignation. There were other things, but I will tell you, and I don't want this to sound emotional, but it did cause some distress in my body that caused some other illness parts to re-kick in. And that was what made me resign.
Being trapped in an
Stop.
office.
So all of that said, I'm happy to put any more of this in writing or whatever I can do, but I would hope that we would move on with other things in our community and not concentrate on this, is my hope. I would love to be in the community with Dave and Jackie and work towards common goals. And I still want to help, even though I'm not employed or I will not be employed soon. And I still want to help in any way that I can. And I'm sorry for all of that.
Again, I want to apologize for the extent.
Thank you.
Okay.
Okay, I'm going to mute.
Okay.
Okay, thank you. And also, one thing I'd like to add is that Krista has been nothing but supportive in all of this. She did not hedge me one way or the other. She did not try to force any statement or anything like that. She's been nothing but supportive to me. And that is something that I really appreciated too. This has been really a hard summer. That's all I really have to say. And I appreciate all of you for all that you're doing. Over and out. It's late. Thank you, guys.
Thank you, John. Okay. So, council discussion?
I would just say that I think this was more of a behavioral, emotional issue than anything. And that I think the process needs to be made clear so whoever comes in the office knows the process, what they have to do to get any information they might need or are entitled to. If we have to post a banner on the wall, whatever that looks like, but people need to know the process and adhere to, it. And it has to be. They have to know the process.
So, and to clarify, the process is any information requested over 15 minutes. And I've explained that, well, first off, they need permission of the city manager to talk to a city employee. This is hopefully I'm quoting this, well, I got the council rules right here. And this would apply to both the committees also. So reiterate that again.
He's got her hand up.
Nikki, go ahead.
You're muted. There you go.
Okay, thank you. I just wanted to say I've been muted that whole time, so that's it.
Okay, we can hear you. Oh, just that you were muted?
Yeah.
Okay, Council Rule 6315. If a councilor wishes to request information or assistance from city staff, the request must be directed to the city manager, city recorder. City recorder manager may assign the matter appropriate to staff. If it is determined the request will require more than 30 or fewer minutes of staff time. If a request requires more than 15 minutes of staff time, it must be approved by council. I would say that would also apply to any of our committees, and the person who would be requesting the information should be a chairperson. Can we all live by those rules?
Does the rules council say that it needs to be requested by the chairperson?
No, but I'm asking, can we, as a citizens group, abide by those rules? The same rules that the councils, it's applied to the council.
I feel like a counselor or commission member should at least be able to communicate with staff on some level. Obviously, some things go far, but basic communications, I feel like are okay without going through the chair.
I disagree. We are in a severe shortage of staffing. And we could have avoided this whole investigation, this whole thing, if we simply followed what I had just suggested. This whole thing would have never even happened. That's just my feelings.
Yeah, that very well may be true, but as a city councilor, I can't do my job without information. And if that information is filtered to another person, that limits my access to information, and we can
Agreed.
disagree. Just is my point.
This information is filtered through the council, not an individual person, but through the council.
No, you did it.
Well, okay, in regards to chairs, it's filtered through, and let me be clear about that. For the planning commission, for the code enforcement committee, the only reason the chair would request information would be that the whole committee approved to get that information. We really need to, these type of situations would never happen if we just follow these simple rules.
I have a question on that.
Sure.
So, for instance, if I went to Krista and I was going to ask her about the appraisal on 8th Street that we want to get, I'm not allowed to do that. I have to go through council before I email the city manager and ask her about that information.
You can ask, you have 15 minutes.
That's all I would say.
Yeah. Well, that's what it says right here, right? 15 minutes. A request that requires more than 15 minutes of staff time must first be approved by the council, not me, the whole council as a whole.
In Nikki's example, how would she know if that's gonna take 15 minutes or more before she asks the question?
If you ask for a list or something like that, I mean, obviously, we have a little bit of play there, but if, you know, and that's what we're talking about is a requirement where the work takes 15 minutes.
I can see,
I'm sorry, Nikki, go ahead.
sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt. I was just gonna say,
No,
I
it's
can
okay.
see if I'm asking Krista to make a list of all the problems in Lakeside and like what, like if I'm asking her a whole task to do, if I'm asking for information that pertains to council and it's a item like that, I don't know. I don't see that it should be a huge deal for counselors to get information like that. But
Well, that is council.
But it doesn't say.
Mayor, may I?
Please.
I think I've been pretty good about things that I think are gonna take more time than others. I've entertained, you know, talking with Counselor Wood when she's come in, you know, without an appointment, and that we'll go over. But I think it's necessary to, you know, keep people informed. Mr. Han, asked a question, and if I think it's gonna take more time, I have to set my priority like for audit, you know, where you guys can make an appointment, you can come in, so we have some dedicated time or something like that. I'm happy to talk with, you know.
Right, and it's the and you have flexibility as a city manager to say, well, you know, I want to continue on with this 15 minutes or whatever that is allotted. But I noticed, you know, one of the things that I had been talking about earlier, there's not enough people to get the things done that are necessary to get done. And we really have to focus on giving services to the city. So I'm sorry, we kind of diverted from the day's message. David, I'm sorry, David Smith. So essentially, I kind of agree with Tom Miller that there's been a situation here where, you know, I think, you know, we really need to protect our city staff, you know, in all cases. I mean, I'd rather people see us, you know, well, maybe I guess nowadays you can't do that, but giving them a smile and a hug and, you know, that type of thing instead of demanding things of our city staff.
That's funny because I always pray with your billing clerk every time I'm in here.
Well, that's nice, as long as it doesn't take up too much of your time. Yeah.
How much time does it take you to pray?
Well, it's a personal question.
Okay. You're saying you hope it doesn't take too much of her time. Maybe it's her break. I don't know.
That's right. If I offended you, I apologize. Did I offend you?
No.
Okay.
So before us, we don't really have any motion. We have heard from Sean that she seems to think that we should learn from what we've discussed here today and move forward. Is that our intention?
As far as the physical stuff, yes. I think people have forgiven each other. I do really want to stress, even though this is individual, I don't know what can we do by just saying, well, it's something that happened, let it go. I don't know what we can do to protect our staff from this type of behavior.
I think we can.
And I'm not pinning it on anybody or anything like that, but this has really got to stop.
I think what we can do is commit as a council to making sure that we get the training we need and that our planning commissioners and other parties in the city get the training they need to avoid these situations. I think that's probably the best. commitment going forward.
Now that you've heard our conversation, David, do you understand the issue about asking for information, stuff like that?
Again, I'm gonna agree with Adam. I understand your terminology, but I also agree with Adam that as a commissioner, and I agree with Nikki that how do I know if it's gonna take longer than 15 minutes? How do I know? This is planning. This has an issue to do with maybe making, knowledgeable information and a knowledgeable assessment of a CUP or someone coming in to do a steep slope on Council Hill.
Did the planning commission ask for this information?
No, as a citizen, I asked Rick for that.
Okay, and then you fill out a citizen request. You're good.
He said I didn't need one. He was gonna give me one.
Okay.
A copy, like he said he was going to give you, which apparently he did. So again,
But you understand now the process, right?
been the same.
Councilor Warren?
I'd like to make two recommendations to the planning commission chair who's sitting here tonight. The first one, I'm going to read you a brief excerpt from the May 2nd, 2024 planning commission meeting minutes. Commissioner Smith inquired about the planning commission working on a code of conduct. Chair Thomas shared he felt that the current planning commission had enough respect for each other that it may not be a high priority at this time. My first recommendation is that you might want to revisit that, and you might want to include not just getting along with each other, but interacting with city staff and the council as well. And you might also want to consider adopting some version of Council Rule 6.3.15 into your code of conduct. My second recommendation is that you reach out to the local DLCD representative, who I believe is still Wade Radomski, and schedule training sessions with her to come in and train the planning commissioners. Apparently you need that.
Are you okay with that, Randy?
I sure am.
Good. Okay, what are our options here? Or do we still want to discuss this more? I think Rob made a suggestion. I think it all starts with training, which I know I've been lax on. I should have, I was hoping that LOC, when people went to the conventions, that, the training would have been provided, but.
That's not really what happens at LOC conference.
Yeah.
I thought they had like conferences where, they teach people how to do stuff and stuff like that. Evidently not. I am corrected on that one.
They do have that. It's usually at election time after elections happen.
So the last one of the season was not.
And then also, me personally, I do a very good training for incoming counselors after elections, so.
Okay. So,
and commission.
I won't be here after election, so maybe that's something that the council might have to think about when that comes up. I don't know. I definitely don't. Actually, did give us a recommendation. Oh, it's on the agenda, that's right. So what we were attempting to figure out, and by the way, I think this has been a very good discussion, and I really appreciate people, being public about it. That's the only way things really get resolved. Council action or inaction item. If council wishes, they can take action from this item. I think our takeaway from this is we need to, be settled with each other. And we need to start doing some education classes, so everybody kind of is on the same playing field and understand, the appropriate behavior. Aside from that, we can't really, we don't, it's a he said, she said type of thing as far as the forcefulness. I know, David, you can control that, right? Yeah.
No issue.
Okay. And I think that's where we leave it. That's my thought. Of course, everybody else can chime in on that.
I feel like the most important thing we heard here was from Sean, and it seemed to be her wishes that we all just move on from this. So,
With what we've discussed more with Brian tonight. So how does everybody feel about that?
I agree.
I don't see where else we can go.
I have a question.
Go ahead.
With Counselor Ward's recommendations, is this a motion or is this just merely a suggestion that we're giving to the chair? So that I know what I need to provide.
Well, for my part, that was just a suggestion from me to Commissioner Thomas. And I think it's up to the planning commission to determine. Okay.
Yeah, I think so. And then Randy, if you want to talk to Krista on the detail, Okay, well.
I just hope that everybody has enough passion for what they're doing. I'm not saying that he doesn't have, he's going in a direction that he thinks very passionate. Well, this is what I want to do. This is what's going to help the city. Well, maybe not, but I hope everybody has a passion that they're holding a position to move forward.
As long as we move all in the same direction.
That's true. I'm not talking about going down a different road, but keeping it straight and narrow.
So I guess at this point, all in favor of Councilor Ward's recommendations and all in favor of not continuing this action, raise your hand and say aye.
Aye.
Okay. Thank you, David.
David, thank you for everything you do.
All right, so now we are on to council comments. Where do we normally start? So let's go the opposite direction. We're giving you a break, Jim.
Oh, good.
Well, this has been a long meeting. Yeah, discussing lots of things, probably more than should do at times.
Yeah.
Other than that, I thought it was a good meeting. Thank you, Tim.
Well, as always, thank you, citizens of Lakeside, for coming to the meeting. Hope you found it excellent.
Number one, I would like to thank this gentleman for his willingness to volunteer to help our community. I think everybody up here is committing a lot of time, and to see more citizens getting involved is very, very positive. And then I would like to thank the council for the opportunity to continue to have, whether it's a workshop, a special meeting, executive session, whatever we got to continue to do to work really hard for this meeting. We got a lot of problems, we all know it, and it's really difficult to get anything accomplished in a couple hours a month. So it is, as much as we can get together and communicate, and I think that's a positive. Thank you.
I'm gonna take a totally different tack. First off, I'd just like to acknowledge the incredible volunteer organizations of the city Recently, I had the pleasure of distributing backpacks to school children in Lakeside. This event was put on by the Lakeside Business Owners Association. Again, they raised to the occasion, and just my sincere thanks to you guys, and please continue the efforts. Additionally, there's other organizations out there that actually do a lot of good in this community. The Lions Club sponsors school supplies for kids. They provide limited eye care resources to the less advantaged in our community. And I don't know if you knew it or not, but if you donate a pair of reading glasses, they will make sure it gets to a needy person. So, and they're always doing things like donating candy to the to the haunted house, and they're always out there doing good things. You might not hear about them that much, but they're really good people. So thank you, Lions Club. Additionally, the Lakeside Fire Department annually hosts the Easter egg hunt and haunted house. And Sarah Coates also runs the Hollywood Trick or Treat. You know, thank you for bringing joy and excitement to the community. We always could do with a little bit more of that. Additionally, the Women's Club brought the car show to town and has been actively cleaning up Lakeside. So thank you to the Women's Club for your dedication and hard work. I really appreciate it. The Friends of the Lakeside Public Library helped the library to be one of the most used libraries by population in the county. In other words, our citizens actually use the library, and you can't go wrong when people are doing that. So I really appreciate that. What they do is they raise funds for, off-budget type of programs, programs that the library itself can't afford. They recently bought in museum artifacts here for everybody to see, and they talked Mike Mayer into taking kids around the lake so he can give a lecture on all the different species and everything like that. So, they do a really good job. And of course, the Lakeside seniors provide meals and activities to the senior citizens. Dixie, Darlene, and their army of volunteers. They always have food, and I guarantee you a smile for everybody. So, they're close to my heart. And let's not forget that they also take care of the food bank. So thank you, Lakeside seniors, for your unwavering efforts. I know I've missed a lot of good deeds in this town, and they happen without us even knowing. Perfect example is tonight, where everybody's talking about helping seniors get their trash to the dump. This type of stuff goes on Lakeside, and I don't think we hear about it and we talk about it that much. So most importantly, I want to thank everybody. And most importantly, keep up the good work. You're all needed. And if everybody could kind of clap for them, that'd be great. All right, that's my elongated comments for tonight.
I too would like to thank you, sir, for your offer of your expertise and your time to help our community. And Lakeside is full of people, and people make mistakes sometimes. We got to work past that and just treat each other with respect, and we can do a lot of things.
Also, I want to thank you for the time that you're going to put in, hopefully, and we get working in that direction. Also, I want to thank all the volunteers that made this summer a great bash. We've had a lot of good times with the 4th of July, the antique show, the boat shows we've had, the car shows we've had. Everybody's put in a ton of volunteer work, and I'd like to thank everybody for that.
Well, yeah, like everyone else said, I appreciate your time to be able to give us some sort of emergency plan. I remember when Melissa told me that we have a non-existent one, so that'll be great for the city, one step forward there. Thank you, Buddy, for getting that the Econo Router thing going. I really appreciate everyone sitting through this meeting tonight, and I mean, communication, transparency. You know, we all have a passion for what we do up here, but you know, we're all a team. So I really appreciate us all working together. So yeah, thank you. That's it. I'm going to bed.
All right, thank you all. Just to make sure we've covered everything tonight, it's been a long night. Yep, so I'm adjourning the meeting at 9:47.
Oh, my truck is.
Thank you all for coming.
Oh, the keys on my truck. My keys. It's still there. Thank you, guys.